I think we are live once again with another week of Super Magical Cup. As you guys will notice, I am alone again. The Rummy Hammy has decided to escape. I thought I locked the cage where we keep him, but apparently either it wasn't locked or he escaped, destroyed the lock himself, and got away. So today Rainy is alone again, casting more Super Magical Cup for you guys. That doesn't mean that the games will be any less awesome. In fact, let's take a look at the brackets today and see what we have in store for us. I haven't really had the time to really look through the participants, so let's go ahead and look through on our own. We got Shreddy Wap. We actually, on Thursday, I commentated a tournament with Shreddy Wap included. And they did pretty well. They did pretty well. There was they didn't make the top 3, but they fought hard. It was pretty cool. So nice to see him there. Fifth Kazekage has had a top 4 performance, I believe. Top 4 or top 8. Juan Chobi, we've seen quite a few times. Julio is MVP. All good, all familiar name. Brady Dude and Santi in the first kind of in the first round, and then Patriots 34 and Hobson right after that. So that's going to be pretty interesting. Group A has some heated matches right there. Chicken Bob and Bakalo. Now Bakalo is the double prince kind of I would say Bakalo is kind of the person heading up double prince in this current meta right now, at least competitively. Chicken Bob, of course, not a bad player himself. Oh, I'm hurting myself. And then we got Apex Predator, Master Sparky, Cubic Rubik. These are all known names of the qualifiers. And Master Sparky and Apex Predator. I think Apex Predator has a top 8, and I don't remember if Master Sparky does, but for some reason his name rings a bell in terms of like high performance. Then we got Marcel P, Danny 20, Springtrap 2015, which was somebody that people were watching out for before. So we'll see what they can do. Zadian coming back again. Odyssey is a name that we see. And then we've got Yes I'm Fum and Darth Jarjar, the triple musketeer, the 3 musketeer kind of champion coming through. All right. Master Sparky says, rest in peace, Rumham. Why is there always a stream with only one host? That's interesting. Because most of the invitational streams have tons of hosts, and by tons I mean 2. This is not indeed a tournament for viewers. This is the invitational for the Super Magical Cup, where the players have battled in open qualifiers, which are open to, I suppose, viewers. It's open to people who sign up at supermagicalcup.com. They fight for points, and the points earn them an invite into this fantastic tournament. Let's see who else. King K102, Marcus 35. Those are big names right in the first round. ESL Yo going to be battling it up over there. And we've got Naders coming back. Naders making a comeback. Now Naders runs some very interesting decks. Right from the start of this current meta, this current patch that we have, Naders was experimenting with giant skeleton stuff. I wonder what he's up to right now, so going to be interesting to see that. And then we got the Dark Slayer. You got Flash and Stellarum. That's going to be interesting. Flash and Stellarum both strike me as players that are really, really excellent at this game. But going to be interesting to see how that plays out. A lot of people really liked Flash as a favorite, especially Clyde himself too. Really kind of put his word in for Flash, saying that he's a really great player. Let's see. Then we got Woody, Raintown, and Clyde all in the same group in the first and second round. Now, word on the street is that Woody couldn't make it. But God, that is an incredible bracket right there. Woody, Raintown, Clyde, and then Brian RT. And that's going to be tough. So then let's keep going down. I'm not sure if you guys can see that. See the lower part of the bracket. Oh no, you can just see to Clyde. So below that, you're gonna have to take my word for it. We got Trainer Nick kind of in that bottom group, and in that bottom group, notable names: Trainer Nick, Popcorn. We've got Mason YouTube coming back. Mason did actually really well in season 1 of the Super Magical Cup, and recently Mason made a video God, I can't remember what it was, but it was featured on the Clash Royale Twitter, so you guys can go check that out. Mason's video there, and then I think it was a deck video of some kind. And then we have Carlos exclamation mark. So some big names on the bottom side. And I think we're gonna start out by joining the Super Magical Cup qualifier B, Group B rather. So let's go ahead and swap these things out. There you go. Invitational. First place wins 500 points on our Super Magical Cup leaderboard, as well as earning $200 worth of money for Amazon through Amazon gift cards. That's first place. And second place will be $100. And third place and fourth place will be 50. So there's money to be earned, as well as super magical points. And if you guys wanted to know what all these points are for, at the end of the season, September 24th is the end of the season, we are inviting the top 16 on a leaderboard, the top 16 guys on that Super Magical Cup leaderboard, into a very exclusive tournament. And they're going to be battling out to see who is the best competitive player at Clash Royale. September 24th, so look forward to that time. MagZ2 says, why no Rumham today, Rainy? And I told the story already. Locked him up in his cage. Apparently he either broke the lock, or I forgot to lock it, or something happened and he escaped. So we're still trying to look for him. You know, the situation is contained. I assure you, there's no need to panic. There's no need to panic. Just you're not in danger. Nobody's in danger. Rumham's not gonna hurt you. He's just running wild right now, but we'll find him. We'll find him eventually. Welcome back, Common Dragon. Good to see you. Alright, just kind of hanging out in the pre-show. Sorry it can't be more analytical. Usually Rumham is here to give us a lot of great talking points. Interested, after looking through the brackets, to see Calpina. Interesting to look through the brackets and see where these matchups are coming on. And it's kind of harsh, because there's a few matches that I personally really want to see in round one. The first one is I want to see that Raintown Clyde kind of area of the bracket, especially because Raintown, both Raintown and Clyde are players that we haven't really seen too much of since Clyde's victory, and Raintown in season 2 has been fairly quiet. Not that Raintown has gotten less skilled in terms of gameplay, but I think Raintown has just had to fight a lot of very, very tough opponents very early on. So that's something interesting. But then the problem is, then I really want to see Naders play. Because we haven't seen him in a while. And then over in Group A in round 1, this is all in round 1 by the way, I want to see Patriots 34, I want to see Santi, and I want to see Brainy Dude. These three names are kind of big names that perform really, really well in the tournaments and have interesting playstyles to me, kind of a new form of gameplay to the Super Magical Cup that we don't really get to watch too much. And then on top of that, of course, I want to watch Bakalo, because I think Double Prince is a thing that I feel like is currently the most interesting to me. Double Prince. Sparky is great, and I would definitely watch Sparky, and I can never remember if it's Trainer Nick or Trainer Chris that runs it. I think it's Trainer Nick that runs the Sparky deck. I wonder if he's still running it, but Sparky's interesting, but to me, Double Prince is where it's at. Now, if you guys were watching throughout the week, you would know that on Thursday, I streamed one of the qualifiers, and on that day, Clyde came into the chat, and he said, Rainy, pick a deck for me to play in the Super Magical Cup Invitational, and I did. And in case anybody missed that and wants to know what deck I chose for him, I can't remember exactly off the top of my head, but it went something like this. I picked him the crossbow. Yes, I'm trying to get Clyde to play some kind of a siege deck. I picked him the crossbow. I told him to pick lumberjack. with the crossbow. Then I told him to pick Tesla, barbarians, princess, zap, mini P.E.K.K.A. or guards, I believe. And then the last one was minions. So I told him to play a crossbow lumberjack deck. So that's also one of the reasons why I want to watch Clyde play. Because I I just want to see. I just want to see Lumberjack Crossbow. But Clyde told me that he wants to pick a deck that could possibly win. He doesn't want to completely throw it out on a stupid commentator's assumptions or dreams or wishes, but we'll see. All right. All right. Well, let's see. So games will be starting soon. Oh, and we can actually live spectate. Why don't we go ahead and live spectate? Let's check out what Mason YouTube is doing. We're just gonna live spectate this first game. All right, the first match of the Super Magical Cup. Mason's back, and I feel like I haven't seen Mason in a long time. And I have to imagine, so his name now is Mason YouTube, but in season 1 it was just Mason, the 4 as the A. I have to assume it's the same person. Mason's gonna have to tell me himself if it's not. Alright, so it seems that Popcorn currently dropped his Elixir Collector, and Mason doesn't really have the opportunity to punish. In fact, Popcorn is the one that goes on the aggressive immediately. Now, that's interesting, zapping away the skeletons. That's going to really slow down the mini P.E.K.K.A. a lot, but I think Popcorn is incentivized not necessarily to slow down the mini P.E.K.K.A. because that means that you can deal with a mini P.E.K.K.A. individually and then deal with a giant, which is actually a much easier situation to handle rather than having to deal with the mini P.E.K.K.A. and the giant at the same time. Alright. Ooh, Valkyrie. Not in range of the guards, but the guards are poking. Look at that. That's so interesting. They have a little bit of extended range, and Rumham did mention that one day. But there you saw a perfect example of the guards' extended range. Musketeer in front. Valkyrie was attacking the Musketeers. Guards were out of the range of the Musketeer splash, but they were still contributing to damaging the Valkyrie. And that was really, really an interesting interaction and almost a perfect kind of timing, rather the most unfortunate timing for Popcorn to play as Valkyrie at that point. Wanted to make sure that the tower didn't take damage though, so that's why it was played in that fashion. So defensive poison for Mason, and I actually am liking this move more and more the more I play Giant Poison, just because, well, the one thing that makes me like it is that it helps me get away with the Elixir Collector. But interestingly enough, if we take a look at Mason's deck right now, there is no Collector in the deck, so he's not going to be playing a macro game. He's not going to be playing kind of a Elixir game. Here comes the Hog Rider counter push. Trifecta kind of at its finest. Guards plus poison and the zap earns the Hog Rider another swing. Maybe I didn't really get to see. One shot, there we go. And that's a lot of damage put onto Mason's tower by Popcorn. Trifecta really showing off its strength right now. And I can't believe, so this is a Trifecta deck actually without the mini P.E.K.K.A. And Popcorn has still been able to handle the giant pretty well. Hog Rider makes a big connection, and the Ice Spirit gets taken down by what I have to imagine was a Musketeer. Insane. Right when overtime hits, Popcorn takes the win with a Hog Rider deck, and he did that really well. That was really good. Alright, so a few more people must have started and played their matches. Man. Popcorn. Yarn, where's Rum? Rum's not here. Rumham's gone. Alright, let's find another match to watch. A lot of these are kind of halfway in. I don't really want to join a game that's halfway in. Let's watch this match. Let's see. Let's take a look. Alright, we got J Money versus Godric. J Money versus Godric, another Hog Rider deck, and it's not a Trifecta deck, it's actually a Goblin Barrel deck. So this is interesting. Goblin Barrel in it naturally kind of attracts Zap, and then you play things like Minion Horde and even things like Princess, right? So he's got a lot of bases covered in terms of Zap and arrows. The thing is, I feel like it's actually not great to try to bait out both Zap and arrows because I feel like you're stretching your cards too thin in your deck. So I'm interested to see how effective J Money's deck is against Godric. Meanwhile, Godric is running a Minor Furnace, very popular tournament deck, very effective. There's good reasons why this deck is kind of so used. So let's go ahead and put up our featured cards since we had this card list. Let's go ahead and feature Ced Le Princesse And then let's go ahead for blue and feature the Hog Rider. Why not? Why not? Why not? Why not? All right. J Money versus Godric. Oh wow, it got pushed far way down. A lot of games finished. Goblin Barrel is one of those decks that I think is actually highly effective, but the execution has to be absolutely on point. Yes, indeed, J Money. Indeed. All right. All right, buddy. Nice. Oh no, guards in front. The perfect answer to mini P.E.K.K.A.s. That princess got a little bit of damage on the tower from the splash, but here's a big counterattack. Minion Horde into response to those, to the miner push, but a decent amount of damage. Guards do a lot of damage. Goblin Barrel Hog Rider. Which one do you zap? And Princess is going to be the response, but Goblins take 2 shots and Princess attacks so slow. Look how much damage that Goblin Barrel did. That's actually crazy. I didn't actually get to see. I just kind of assumed Godric had zap, but maybe he spent it on something else. 1.2k with 1 cast of Goblin Barrel. The Hog Rider did not swing at all. That's what I'm talking about, man. Goblin Barrel actually does so much damage. You almost need to use zap. It's such an interesting card that I think needs to be explored quite a bit more. Alright, the Fire Spirits are hopping across a bridge. The Inferno Tower is going to make sure J Money takes 0 damage. But let's see. Guard Miner. Mini P.E.K.K.A. not quite in the right spot. Tags onto the Miner eventually. Here comes a counter Minion Horde play from J Money. Minion Horde, naked Minion Horde into a Furnace even. That's a great fireball. But the Spear Gobs are going to put a stop to that. And now Godric has to hold on to that zap. It's going to be interesting to see how Godric's kind of discipline and focus is in this match. If he wants to use zap on offense, that opens up J Money for another Goblin Barrel attack. But we'll see if Godric can hold on to that card. Here it comes, and he has that zap hovered. There it is. Perfect response. Mini P.E.K.K.A. for the Hog Rider. Exactly what we were looking for. It seems like Godric is very fully prepared for the barrel now that he's seen it. And it's going to be hard for J Money to put damage in. Fireball against Princess for damage on the tower. Fairly good response, especially considering that the Princess is likely to force you to play another extra card that you didn't want to deal with it. Just take the 1 elixir deficit, do some damage to the tower. Zap is on hand again. Not going to happen. Now, maybe interested in playing the Minion Horde. Trade? Oh, barely traded. The missile speed and the attack speed for the Princess is so slow that it's very, very difficult not to trade it. Double Furnace, 4 Fire Spirits coming down the lane. Zap is going to handle that situation pretty well. This Minion Horde trying to make their way across. Oh, and the Princess just barely survives. Nice. Enough help. Wow, he fireballs the Fire Spirit. Huh. That's a new one in the strategy book. 4 Fire Spirits. I like this timing that Godric has. He's placing the new furnace down right at the moment that the last furnace had just thrown out the Fire Spirits. So you can see now that they're always coordinated, and the Miner will end up taking it down with the Ice Wizard and the Princess. But you can see that because the timing on both the furnaces are the same, if you put down your new furnace, you know that it immediately launches 2 Fire Spirits. So if you time it, you can always have 4 Fire Spirits moving across in tandem. Of course, that's not necessarily what you want to be doing all the time, but it's interesting to think about. Very cool. Very cool. Alright, let's look for the game that I personally wanted to watch here. Let's see. Let us see. Alright, so we're at the top. We're at the top. I'm looking for Clyde. That's what I'm looking for today. I'm most interested. He still hasn't played. Why? Corby. Alright, we'll watch somebody else for now. We watch Mason. We watch J Money. Twig's a big name. ESL Yo. ESL Yo really likes his Giant Prince. Let's go ahead and take a look. Let's take a look at this. Giant Prince is a big thing for ESL Yo. Oh my goodness. Let's move this up. There we go. ESL Yo is a very, very big supporter of the Giant Prince combination. And there have been players that played this combination, and I really didn't believe that it was that strong. But ESL Yo plays it very, very well and makes it seem very usable. Meanwhile, Corby doing the Giant Triple Musketeer that is becoming more and more a popular response to the Giant Poison meta. It's a little more expensive than what you would normally support the Giant with, but you take the hit, you let your opponent move this slow Giant push across, and then you push back with a Giant push that's way stronger because you played 4 elixir, or rather 3 elixir Musketeers, and you can split them. Just do all sorts of stuff. It's a very different card than just the Musketeer alone. Very, very effective. So let's take a look. Corby versus ESL Yo. There's a lot to say about Triple Musketeer as a card. There we go. Ooh, they did the handshake. That's a Clash Royale handshake. Clash Royale handshake. They both put down their collectors. Miner thwaps the collector. There we go. Flapping away. Alright, here comes the first Prince of the game, unassisted by the Giant. Zap to stop its charge damage. The mini P.E.K.K.A will clean it up. Giant at about 60% health right as it's crossing the bridge. Guard Musketeer plus the mini P.E.K.K.A in the back is going to handle that very well. Corby's up some elixir, but he's going to even it up by spending the poison. Musketeer in the back is going to get maybe 2 or 3 shots though. One more? No. Just 2 shots. A decent push for an elixir even change, but Corby threw out that miner. An interesting choice by Corby to play that defensive miner there. I don't know actually how much damage it mitigated. But it looks like ESL Yo is going to commit to playing another collector. So now this time, he knows that the miner is down. There's no way for Corby to punish it. And that might have been a key mistake for Corby. Giants are going to handshake right about at Corby's side of the bridge. Triple Musketeer versus Musketeer. So Corby has decided to split the 2 Musketeers. Oh my god, and that is not. And he's going to zap it, take extra pump off the collector, plus make sure that the Triple Musketeer dies to the poison. Very nicely done by ESL Yo. Good recognition. Takes down the collector, the 2 Musketeers, and does damage to the tower. And is able to handle the right side push. Beautifully done. Absolutely. Oh my god! That had to be a mistake. That had to be. People are sneezing all over the place today. Just about to drag their card over to the other side and they sneeze. That had to be a mistake. Unless he really wanted to defend against the Prince, but I can't imagine if he wanted to do that. Maybe the guards would have been a better choice. I don't know if he had guards in hand. It was just strange. Not very often do you see guards played. Nice! I like the guard placement there. Soaked up that mini P.E.K.K.A hit. Took down the guard's shield. Beautifully done. Now that Giant is actually living much longer. Didn't end up making a big difference, but a good play. Corby has defending his Giant on his mind. Mini P.E.K.K.A trading. Takes a swing at the Giant. And guards in the back is going to hold up ESL Yo's own mini P.E.K.K.A. Here comes the Triple Musketeer, and this is where momentum starts to swing back for Corby's side. He's got 1 collector up. And actually wins the Musketeer trade. Musketeer's going to get 1 shot on the left side tower. There it is. Prince on the miner, but how is he going to stop this push? He's got guards soaking up mini P.E.K.K.A swings. Took down the Giant. And now that Prince is actually doing quite a bit of work doing any kind of counter push. It's going to be able to build up a charge, and there's no zap on Corby's side. Double Prince coming in, and this is double of the normal Prince, and this is going to be really tough. Here comes a charge damage. Mini P.E.K.K.A in the back. That's actually so much DPS onto the Giant there. Meanwhile, ESL Yo's Giant is swinging at Corby's right side tower, plus the poison, and that is a big elixir advantage coming down the lane. ESL Yo played that very, very well. Defended very handily against a very scary Giant Musketeer mini P.E.K.K.A push, but was able to not only take down the Giant in a timely manner, have the Prince convert from killing the Miner to the Giant to the Mini P.E.K.K.A to the Musketeer to the bridge, and then assist with a second Prince. That is actually insane efficiency. Very well defended by ESL Yo and resulted in a great counter push. That is why he's so great at this Giant Prince combination. And I think like no other person I've seen play Giant Prince, ESL Yo seems to be able to really have a grasp of that situation where he can take his advantage and really push for a win. Very nicely done. Gonna watch more matches in group play. More matches in group play. Let's take a look here. Let's take a look. Let's watch Stellarum and Flash. This is gonna be an interesting match. All right. Here we have it, ladies and gentlemen. Stellarum bringing it back. I feel like it's been so long since we've seen a Tournament Royal Giant, and I might be crazy because last week we might have seen Tournament Royal Giants in group play also. I can't really remember, but it really feels like forever. Stellarum is going to be running a double threat Royal Giant Hog Rider deck. Now this deck is very interesting. Your investment is very, very similar to a Giant Balloon, if you notice. 6 for the... I held up 5 fingers and I said 6. I'm good at math. 6 elixir for the Royal Giant. 4 elixir for the Hog Rider, total of 10, whereas Giant Balloon is 5 and 5. And both don't really kill units. And that's the big danger of running anything like Giant Hog, Royal Giant Hog, Giant Balloon, right? You're running 2 building chasers. Does big damage to structures, but if defended handily, your opponent basically has all the cards that he used to defend, counter pushing you for mostly max efficiency. Alright, let's see. Let's throw up the Mini P.E.K.K.A there for Flash. Meanwhile, Flash is running Miner Furnace. It's really going to be up to Flash to decide how he wants to handle the Hog Rider. Stellarum's going to have to make the decision whether he wants to throw the Hog Rider to trade with the Furnace, or whether he wants to try to use the Royal Giant to challenge it. Right? Because the Furnace itself does much less damage in terms of health pool to effectiveness to the Royal Giant. Rather, the Fire Spirits are not quite as effective. Meanwhile, the Hog Rider is somewhat less tanky, and its effectiveness is cut down a lot if it takes damage from the Fire Spirits. But if you clear away the Furnace and then play the Royal Giant, then there's nothing in Flash's deck to really stop the Royal Giant from doing a ton of damage. Hog Rider early to open. Furnace is being played as a response, but didn't actually push the Hog Rider away. 2 swings is going to be a good investment there. Furnace plus guards are being played, but how will Stellarum defend? Fire Spirits against guards is a great choice. And he's actually gonna let that... Will he zap? Okay, he's gonna zap the Fire Spirits. He let the Miner run free, and that's gonna be about 500 damage onto that left side tower for Stellarum. Gonna take the blow to the chin. Plays Musketeer to stop the damage from the Furnace. Every single point of health counts in tournament play. You can see Stellarum being very, very careful to make sure these Fire Spirits do not jump onto the tower. They do a lot of damage. Mini P.E.K.K.A has an answer, and Stellarum is seemingly, if he defends this, will get away with his Elixir Collector. But the interesting thing to note is Flash played his own Elixir Collector and is in no trouble of being attacked right now. And so Stellarum definitely on the back foot from that opening. Miner to play against the Collector, and there's no answer in Stellarum's hand. He's playing a double Building Chaser deck, and look at his hand. There's actually no cards to fight right now. There's only Collector or Hog Rider. Which do you play? Royal Giant on the slow time. He's going to play the Collector. Royal Giant onto the Furnace is going to clear that out. It's going to tank these Fire Spirits too. The question is, how do you defend now? Fireball is only going to take down the shields for those guards. Maybe he's just going to let it happen, stop the Musketeer from getting the damage in. A lot of damage to Stellarum's left side tower in the name of putting up an Elixir Collector. Hog Rider actually gets jumped over by the Mini P.E.K.K.A, doesn't go for the Furnace, and is actually going to get 3 swings plus a zap, maybe a 4th, and that's a big connection with the Hog Rider. Well played, very well executed by Stellarum. Mini P.E.K.K.A on defense, used it to jump the Hog Rider, and then got 4 swings on the left side tower. That's as efficient as it gets. Alright, Musketeer, Royal Giant, plus Hog Rider is available right now, but Mini P.E.K.K.A gets played in front, and this is one of the reasons why guards are such a popular card right now. You play the Royal Giant and you play guards around it, the guards will walk in front of the Royal Giant and block the Royal Giant in terms of if you tried to play Mini P.E.K.K.A to chop it down, the guards will stand in front and just shield the Royal Giant. Very, very good defensive guards are. 335 on that left side tower. Plays the Royal Giant into the guards. Tags onto the Furnace. And maybe the Hog Rider is coming after this Furnace drops. That Musketeer in the back is doing so much damage. And it tags onto the tower. No, right as overtime pops. Flash needs to make something big happen. But I don't think he has enough time. Very well done by Stellarum. Very well executed Royal Giant Hog deck. That actually is great. To see the Royal Giant played in that method. And the interesting thing is Stellarum's deck had a lot of holes in it. He opted to play to some strengths, but gave up on some, definitely had weaknesses in his deck. Chose not to have the guards, played the Collector, didn't really have skeletons or a chumpy unit to block a miner, and so he essentially let kind of Flash play against the Collector, throw your miner on it. I'm not gonna really think too hard about that. If I have the cards to defend, I will. If I don't, I'm just gonna counter push. I think it was just really, really solid decision making that pushed Stellarum to the victory there. All right, let's take a look. Let's take a look here. Some people already getting knocked out. The interesting thing is I don't see either Raintown or Woody playing. That's a disappointment. It's a disappointment. I wanted to see one or the other, but we will see maybe in round 2. This will be a good one. Let's watch David versus Carlos. There we go. Trifecta with Skeleton Cannon. So sometimes Trifecta is going to be run with a Mini P.E.K.K.A. This time around, not the case. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is a very, very popular card in the meta. It's interesting to see 2 Trifecta decks opting not to pick them. And obviously, oh man, I can't remember who ran the first Trifecta, but incredibly effective. I think Carlos running Hog, Freeze, Minion Horde. This is like a very classic Hog Cycle-ish deck. Double threat Hog. I mean, the cycle is a little less strong just because of the Minion Horde, but it's a pretty cheap deck. You've got the 2/1/2 plus a Princess for the 3, and then the double threat from the Mini P.E.K.K.A. and the Hog Rider. Defensively, you have Minion Horde, and then you have Freeze to assist. So this is a very old school deck that Carlos is running, and without a doubt, the Hog Rider is the focus. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Ms. Musketeer here for the Trifecta. And let's get the game started. David versus Carlos. Trainers Arena, I believe this is. Is that right? Mini P.E.K.K.A. Oh my god, that was so scary. Oh no, no, no. Oh, Jesus. David. Can Hog Freeze even win in the current meta anymore? We have to ask ourselves that question. Hog Freeze. Out of curiosity, I wonder how many people viewing has felt the pain of Hog Freeze. There's a Poison Hog for David. The classic Trifecta push. Cannon is going to distract this Hog Rider for a little bit. Maybe it's going to get one swing. Ooh, it's going to swing at the Collector. No, the zap. And still gets a swing. Wow, that was an expensive defense for David. And even though the Hog Rider didn't do any damage to the tower, you might say that that's a little bit worth it to swing onto the Collector. We'll see. We'll see. 750 health for Carlos on the right side, though. That hurts. Trifecta push is really, really very tough to deal with. Good defensively, good aggressively. That's why it's a popular deck. Albeit very finicky. Your execution needs to be on point. That Princess is being led on a wild goose chase. Good connection for the Hog Rider. There's a defensive Minion Horde, and Carlos is well on his way to cycling. Princess and the Minion Horde will get taken down by the poison. Princess gets one more shot off. Fine. Carlos winning that exchange pretty handily. This is a very effective push. Skeletons for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Nice, pull them to the middle. Zap on the skeletons, has to play the cannon. Cannon gets swung at. Now the Hog Rider is an option for Carlos, but he needs to defend this Hog Rider push of his own. He's gonna freeze it, and the skeletons to surround gets zapped up. Now the Mini P.E.K.K.A. will take down the Hog Rider and take the Musketeer. Interesting defense. Can you play the Hog Rider here to assist your Mini P.E.K.K.A.? I think that's gonna be the good choice, but David's already cycled back up to the cannon. Alright, here comes the Hog Rider, and the cannon's going to be played. That Hog Rider is going to be ineffective. Zap on the minion horde. David defends very handily. Carlos did not have the elixir or the time to counter push right when the cannon dropped from that mini P.E.K.K.A. play, because he had to defend with freeze on the right side as he's doing right now. Freeze mini P.E.K.K.A. is a choice, gets zapped up. But Carlos has to watch out. The poison is going to be ticking away. There's only like one and a bit. A poison and a zap might do it for David. And there's only 10 seconds left for Carlos to make something happen on the left side. And I have to feel like the one big opportunity Carlos had with that mini P.E.K.K.A. play, kind of, he got shut down on it. Cannon for the Hog Rider. Princess gets about 2 shots on that left side tower, and now we're in overtime. David plays the Valkyrie. Oh, a freeze is going to allow the mini P.E.K.K.A. to get a lot of swings off. There's a zap. Oh my god, and he actually survives. The tower will survive one more day, so this is one final push from Carlos. But again, the cannon, and this is one of the reasons why Hog Cycle is so difficult to justify, is because cannons is just, the cannon is just such a great defense, and actually 2 swings onto the tower is not going to be bad. But how are you going to defend this push? You can't play freeze mini P.E.K.K.A. anymore. Oh no, and here comes a Hog Rider. The poison will definitely seal the deal, and David takes the win. Hog freeze can't do it, and the freeze wasn't even used aggressively. It was used purely defensively. To great effect, but it's an expensive defense to play freeze and then mini P.E.K.K.A. That's an 8 elixir commitment. When you think about it, compared to David, Carlos had to spend 8 elixir to defend Hog Riders, while really all David had to do was put the cannon down. The cannon and maybe skeletons, maybe some other small unit, but 3 elixir plus a small unit, he could defend as cheaply as 4 elixir. Whereas Carlos had to spend 8. A very interesting situation. Freeze is a very hard spell to justify, but alright. Let's take a look. It looks like the next round has started. Let's watch Marcus 35 versus Kirby Sage. Alright, let's take a look at these decks. Kirby Sage, wow, another Goblin Barrel deck. Minor Goblin Barrel Princess. Interesting deck. He's got Minor Poison, that's going to shut down collectors. And then he's got Goblin Barrel plus Minions, Fire Spirits. I mean, Minions, Fire Spirits are things that you do want to zap also. And the Mini P.E.K.K.A, you kind of want to zap the Mini P.E.K.K.A too. And then he's got Princess just as a good solid card. Barbarians for defense. I don't know how I feel about Kirby Sage's deck. I feel like it has the potential to be really, really strong, but I'm not exactly sure how I envision it playing out. We'll see. Marcus 35 running kind of a much more standard giant poison. We see this guy's happy face all the time. We may as well throw it up there now. Giant poison is the defining deck of this current meta right now, and there's, if you don't know what to run, you can't really go wrong with giant poison right now, I feel. Let's see. It's just very solid. This is a very balanced deck in many ways. Poison to punish. Card cycling is awkward for Marcus 35, so he plays Ice Wizard into Musketeer. Mini P.E.K.K.A for defense is going to work well. Tower's tagged onto the Mini P.E.K.K.A, however, and not the Miner. Guards have to walk a long distance away, and the Miner gets about 300 damage in, 400 damage in. Man, but those guards walked across and look at that counterattack. Very much in Marcus's favor. Now, Goblin Barrel has not been shown yet, and Kirby Sage might be waiting for a time where Marcus 35 plays a Zap. The first one is always the scariest, because you know what you can run and your opponent might not. And so Marcus 35 might be convinced to just run Zap as a pretty good choice on defense without knowledge that the Goblin Barrel exists and Kirby Sage can capitalize for a big, big hit. Nice, that splash is going to be really, really great. Doesn't get a second one, however. Alright, now he has to deal with giant... Oh, okay, Zap is definitely on hand right now. There it goes. Musketeer played for the... Or rather, Mini P.E.K.K.A for the Musketeer. But this is a tough situation for Kirby Sage. Barbarians are going to tank up a lot of damage, but the Giant took a few swings. 984 for Kirby Sage on the right side, and that's tough. Play the barrels right into the Zap, and it's so important to make sure that if you're going to play barrel, and you know your opponent has Zap in hand, you need to figure out a way to make sure that you can justify the loss of Zap. And Kirby Sage, I think, just didn't quite do that. Zap again on hand. Now he can't zap the Fire Spirit, so this might be a much more dangerous push. Nice. Mini P.E.K.K.A will win that duel. Goes for the guards, however, and not the tower. Barbarians trying to chew down the Giant. That's a lot of DPS cards. Barbarians plus minions do a lot of damage, but I think the splash from the Ice Wizard, he doesn't. Marcus 35 use the Zap again. Now has to use a Mini P.E.K.K.A to defend, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A swings slow, and the Goblins will do quite a bit of damage. 1.3k on the right side, but damage for Marcus 35 has been so split. The Miner has been almost exclusively hitting the left side tower and loses his own right side tower with 8 seconds left. And Kirby Sage, I think, just had too much split damage. And you almost have to wonder if poisoning the Elixir Collector was even kind of an effective move for Kirby Sage. Kirby Sage has the Miner. Kirby Sage has a lot of options. Poison is one of them. You have the Miner, and you also have Goblin Barrels to take down Elixir Collectors. I almost feel like possibly using the poison in a different way would have given you many more options to be more aggressive, using the poison to effectively take down supporting troops when there's a giant push, for example. And then you have a good set of barbarians to counter push and then put pressure on, plus Goblin Barrels and Miner to assist your barbarians. Something like that. But interesting, the deck, I think it was very, very tough for Kirby Sage to find some kind of footing in that match. A tough match. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. In the group stage, we have what could be, I mean, we have what is basically the two kind of first place winners of the Super Magical Cup. So there's a reason in the Super Magical Cup why Ramhan and I like to talk about Woody and Clyde a lot. Woody, in many ways, is kind of the ultimate Super Magical Cup contender. First place on the leaderboards all throughout Season 1, no questions. Like, definitely first place in the leaderboards. Season 2, also first place in the leaderboards. Woody won the first ever Super Magical Cup tournament that existed. Also won the 800-man open qualifier on Clash Royale's tournament feature week. Also won a Season 2 Invitational. And so he has 3 first places under his belt. That's not easy to do in Super Magical Cup. Most of the competitors only have 1 win. And we're talking about the top competitors, like the top 2, you know, players who go to the finals. Most of the Super Magical Cup champions only have 1 win under their belt. And so Woody kind of is like the defining Super Magical Cup competitor. Clyde, however, is kind of a different monster. Clyde never won a single Super Magical Cup in Season 1 except for the season finale. Clyde was always kind of in the top 8, top 4, had enough points to go to the Invitational, went to the Invitational, beat everybody, and I believe he was kind of the last seed too. He was kind of the 16th invite or so. Beat everybody at the Invitational and took the kind of the winning spot for Season 1 finale. In Season 2, then, Clyde made another win in an Invitational, so he carries 2 wins for himself. And so in many senses, Woody and Clyde are kind of the 2 names that you need to watch out for in the Super Magical Cup. They're number 1 and number 2, or depending on how you see them, they might even be tied in some ways. So, moving on from that, Woody is going to be using his classic Miner Beatdown with the Mortar to assist, Mortar Tombstone. This is kind of Woody's deck, I would almost say. And he does very, very well with it. Clyde, going back to big bodies, Clyde is all about the big bodies. Playing Lava Hound Miner, this combination is incredibly deadly. Very, very hard to deal with. Let's go ahead and throw the Lava Hound up there for Clyde. Now, one thing that Clyde is known for sure is big body. He played Giant Poison before it was even really popular, and really executes it well. And to this day, I personally feel like he's probably the best Giant Poison player out there, or at least the best big body player out there. And then the alternate deck that Clyde loves to run is Lava Hound stuff. And I'm not sure if Clyde has ever run Golem decks, but I would assume that anything like P.E.K.K.A, Golem, Giant, Royal Giant, Lava Hound, any big body decks that you run, Clyde is the person to look for. Much like Woody is the person you might look for Siege. Obviously, as of late, Woody has been trying to break out of that identity a little bit. But we'll see. Fireball to take down the mortar. It's going to be ultimately a 4-for-4. Clyde finds himself at an elixir deficit, and the princess in the back still survives. Now, one thing about Woody is he is absolutely the best at defending his princess. In any kind of princess duel, Woody always comes out on top. Miner to defend against the princess, and the minion horde is dangerous, and oh my god, Woody makes a big connection, and this is what we're talking about, man. Woody as a player, you might think of him as a Siege player, but that is classic beatdown at its core, right? Making the princess survive, putting pressure onto Clyde, placing the miners such that when Clyde tried to play the princess to counter Woody's princess and minion horde, tagged onto the miner instead and made a big connection. Now Clyde makes a comeback with Lava Hound on the left side, has the miner in hand, is going to play it on the princess on the right side, make sure that gets taken down, will turn around and smack the Ice Wizard. And here come the Lava Pups, and that's actually a good play. Woody's going to have to zap the Lava Pups, but still a good amount of damage. Not going to be able to rival that 51 health on the right side, but that's off the back of a really great play from Woody. Absolutely incredible. And with such consistency, I feel like much more than any other player, Woody lands minion hordes on opponent towers like nobody's business. Most people, when they play minion horde, play it purely defensively and have it get stopped as it comes across a bridge. But in so many situations, Woody is able to convert the minion horde into some kind of aggressive force. And as you know, minions do an insane amount of damage. That one connection brought Clyde's tower down to 51 health. Skeletons to deal with the Ice Wizard. Didn't quite get the surround, but the Ice Wizard gets taken down nonetheless. Mini P.E.K.K.A coming across. Minions might be the answer. There's Zap in Woody's hands. Minion Horde. Is there a fireball for Clyde? Is he going to choose to use it? No, he doesn't actually. Clyde's going to play the Princess to take down the Minion Horde. And here comes a second Lava Hound. Princess still exists. Skeletons to protect. Really well played by Clyde, but tags onto the Princess as a second shot. Unfortunate, couldn't keep that Princess alive, but very good play. Very good presence of mind by Clyde. Zap is going to help the minions win that duel. Lava Pups are out now, and the miner is tanking just a little bit, and this could be a big connection for Clyde. And off of such a bad start, Clyde has turned it around. 30 seconds, oh my god, 12 seconds left, and Woody finally takes down the tower with the miner on the right side, but that might have been too much of an elixir commitment. 5 seconds left, Clyde's Princess takes down the tower, and so now we're in an overtime game. And Clyde, with a 51 health deficit right in the first minute of the match, comes back to take down the tower, bring it into overtime, and extend his advantage. Now, in double elixir, that's very scary. Against the Lava Hound and double elixir, you saw how that double Lava Hound combo really hurt Woody there on the left side. And that situation is not going to get any easier for Woody anytime soon. Barbarians played aggressively in the middle drop zone, gonna allow Clyde to assist his Lava Hound, and now gonna be playing the miner, and this is trouble town for Woody right now. There's a great time zap, but not gonna actually do damage to the Lava Pups, and that hurts. That's incredible. Clyde coming back. Clyde making it back, and I wonder if Woody made a mistake trying to take down that tower just a little bit too early. 20 seconds left. Woody committed the 3 elixir to take down that right side tower. If that had been committed to the left side, would he have been able to protect his own tower a little bit better? Man, and then Clyde's final push with the aggressive drop for the Barbarians to assist the Lava Hound, plus the minions added on to that. Just too much for Woody to defend. Man, I want to watch the next match in their series. Clyde versus Woody. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's do it. We're watching it. I can't. This could be a finals of an invitational. So, Woody lost that match, so he can choose whichever deck he wants to play. Woody can change decks, he can stay either one. Clyde, because he won, must change his decks, and obviously, as we see here on screen, Clyde did not take my suggestion. I don't think there's any surprise there, but it's going to be Triple Musketeer, Miner, and then Minion Horde, Fire Spirit, plus Collector and Mini P.E.K.K.A. So we kind of have the Miner, Minion Horde, Mini P.E.K.K.A. situation, and you can see that that's very strong. I mean, that's a lot of the heart of Woody's deck, Woody's deck here that you see. Miner, Minion Horde, Mini P.E.K.K.A. The synergy is really strong with those cards, but instead Clyde is playing lots of expensive cards. Got the Minion Horde, which is 5 elixir, and then the 9 elixir, 3 Musketeers. Interested to see how this deck comes together. And Clyde has been really investigating a lot of new decks. He's really been trying to go against the meta, trying to see how he can break out of Giant Poison, which is very interesting to me. Something about Giant Poison and the current meta tells Clyde to not play it, to look for new ways to break out of it. And he's investigating, is this 3 Musketeer deck the answer? We'll see. Miner 3 Musketeer is interesting. You get the mini tank. It's much cheaper than a giant 3 Musketeer deck. But is it as effective is a question. Fire Spirit's coming across will damage the mortar and the Mini P.E.K.K.A. And that's value right there. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is not going to be able to do any damage to the tower. Destroyed before it takes any swings. Wow, just barely. Ice Wizard gets cleaned up by the skeletons. Okay, he's actually just going to drop Triple Musketeer to defend against Minion Horde. Taking some damage in order to get away with a 9 elixir investment. And somehow that Miner tagged on the tower and not the Collector? Man, Woody's taking a lot of damage. 2006 on both sides. Now, typically, splitting damage on towers is really tough it's a tough sell, right? You typically don't really want to split your damage on towers, just because you're basically giving your opponent extra health. You're spending elixir into a tower that might not even come to play. Wow, I think that Fire Spirit actually did damage. Yeah, it did. Nice defense with the Mini P.E.K.K.A, but wasn't able to help the Princess survive. Triple Musketeer dropped in the middle again. Will take down the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Elixir Collector gets taken down. But here comes a Musketeer split that Woody has to deal with. No elixir for that right side Musketeer. And what I was saying about the split, oh my god, look at how much damage that's doing. With 3 Musketeers, it's okay if you split damage on the towers because you can threaten any one of them. Splitting 3 Musketeers is so effective that it's actually viable to just start splitting your damage, and by overtime you're going to be able to take down one or the other, and it makes your opponent have to make some very, very hard decisions. Again, Mini P.E.K.K.A plus Fire Spirits to go against the mortar, but it's not going to be effective. Ice Wizard plus Tombstone from Woody is going to be enough to handle that, and the mortar locks onto the right side tower. Clyde is going to take this opportunity to play another set of Triple Musketeers. Miner's going to assist, take down the Princess. Didn't get the boop, but left side Musketeers this time comes in and makes a big play. How are you going to defend against these minions? Minion Horde of your own, plus the Fire Spirits. The Mini P.E.K.K.A's going to swing. Oh my god, and it did a lot of damage. That zap from Woody was absolutely key. Got the 1 swing plus the Miner hitting on the tower. 276 is not that much damage to deal, and Woody could very well do that in 17 seconds. Miner gets played on that right side. Mini P.E.K.K.A to defend, but Clyde doesn't actually put it in time and in the position. The Princess will take it down. Man. Woody demonstrating exactly why this deck is so strong. Took a lot of damage from the Triple Musketeers, and almost, you know, the situation ended up playing out where Woody didn't really have an answer for the 3 Musketeers. He didn't really defend them that well. Every single time the 3 Musketeers were played, Woody took a significant damage on either both towers or 1 tower, right? But the fact is that Woody was able to do just enough in terms of offense to cause Clyde to play defense long enough that he wasn't able to play as many 3 Musketeers as he would have liked. And that might be a byproduct of the fact that you don't have a giant to assist, right? You don't have this big push that forces Woody to constantly have to defend it. Interesting interaction. So Clyde will have to play his 3 Musketeer deck again, and we'll have to see what Woody's alternate deck is. We'll have to see. Let's see. So Woody has to swap up decks. All right. Okay. Okay. I'm just going to look at chat and see what they say about this deck they see. I'm just going to be looking at chat for a while. What do you think this deck would be? Can't show you the brackets right now, Harshy, because there might be spoilers. So, ex-bowler. Bowler crossbow. Huh. Okay. Bowler crossbow. Woody's doing it. Already innovating with the crossbow deck in the first Invitational of Super Magical Cup to great success. His first crossbow deck took a lot of wins and earned him the win in the Invitational. But now, changing up his crossbow deck, not only is it bowler crossbow, but it's collector. He's going to play collector. He's confident enough that he can just play collector against minors. Barbarian Tesla is just a very, very solid crossbow defense, and guards is a great card to have in this meta. And Woody chose arrows. That's going to be interesting. So notice that there's no zap in this deck for Woody. Alright? There's no zap, and there's arrows instead. Let's go ahead and put that crossbow up there. Triple Musketeer remains for Clyde. Huh. Let's see. Is this gonna work? Is this gonna work? Woody says Twig data made this deck, and Woody is gonna make it popular by winning with it. It's always interesting to see the relationship between deck builders and tournament winners. Very good of Woody to let us know who made this deck. Twig, also a competitor in Super Magical Cup, and oftentimes I feel like for the most part, Woody actually takes his inspiration from either TV Royale or a lot of decks that he sees. He likes to experiment. He likes to try things out. Much more of an executor of decks than necessarily an innovator. Wow, gonna let that mini P.E.K.K.A do some damage. But here it comes. Here it is. This is the cash money right now. Oh my God! This is why you have arrows. This is why you have arrows. That's the cash money. And now the crossbow is locked on. Stay back. Stay back. Do you have a defense for that? No, he's just gonna let it happen. Already 1,200 damage done on that right side tower. Oh my God. That is amazing. Arrows against a Minion Horde. It just so happens that Clyde plays Minion Horde. Minion Horde as a card is actually not that far into the meta. Typically, people just like to play the normal minions because it gets the job done about as well, and you don't open yourself up to a big elixir deficit by playing 5 for cards that can get wiped out by things like arrows or fire spirits. It's not very often in this game that you can have a 3 elixir advantage trade. It's actually very, very rare. Minion Horde is one of the only ways that can happen. And that's why people don't play it, but Clyde has opted to use it, and he got punished for that. Huge, big time. Here comes the Minion Horde, but again, the arrows is available. And now, this might give Woody the opportunity to play something instead. Elixir advantage for Clyde, and he's going to be able to play Triple Musketeer, and that's kind of the Elixir Collector advantage that Clyde had. Bowler is a response coming down the side with 2 Musketeers. How will this play out? Musketeer Fire Spirit. We'll actually protect the Musketeer and give it a good amount of shots, but here comes Bowler Crossbow plus Barbarians in front. Oh no, this looks so scary. Arrows needs to be played. The Bowler will tank the Minion Horde and the arrows. Crossbow locks onto the tower again. Oh, and Clyde knows it. It's done. There's 23 seconds. Gonna zap the Crossbow to try to keep the damage off the tower, but not long enough. Guards in front, a second Bowler in front, and the Crossbow takes it down. 15 seconds left, and Woody is left with just so much health on either tower. He needs to cycle to arrows, though. This could be a big counterattack. Here comes the mini P.E.K.K.A down the lane. Arrows to finally clean out, but now the guards just in time, maybe. Oh my God, and Woody does it. Woody does it with Bowler Crossbow. Bowler Crossbow. And the arrows were the absolute perfect choice in this situation. There could be no better card against Clyde's deck. Oh my god. Oh my god. Clyde's out. Woody knocks Clyde out. So Clyde gets knocked out, and Woody continues with bowler crossbow. And we might see our first bowler victory if Woody keeps going all the way to the finals. There's going to be many more opponents that he has to face. But that is simply amazing. Still a lot more tournament to go. Woody made his debut with the bowler crossbow deck designed by Twig Data. And we'll see if he can make it all the way to the finals again. Every time the tournament extends longer, I can't remember, I'll have to double check the stat, but virtually almost any Super Magical Cup that Woody joins, he makes it to the top 4. At the very least, the top 4. Let's take a look at this game. We've got a lot of interesting decks in the Super Magical Cup. The Dark Slayer got to be running a Hog Freeze again. Hog Freeze cycle with the double threat. Got the Mini P.E.K.K.A, got the Hog, got cheap cards to cycle. Plus you have Freeze. And if my eyes don't deceive me, that's level 3 Freeze. Flash, meanwhile, is running Minor Furnace, but he's got the Log in there. He feels like the Log is going to be a key card in this game. And he's going to throw that into his deck. Really have to wonder how that Log is going to justify itself. I wish we had a Log featured card, but we don't. Let's see. Let's feature the Princess. Let's feature the Princess here. Let's go ahead and, man, I wonder if we have guards. Do we have guards? No. I think we're probably going to have to do the Hog Rider. Alright. Hog Freeze. Will it work? Will Hog Freeze actually win a match? The Dark Slayer plus Flash. Nice. Nice. Takes down the Goblins and the Princess and the Ice Spirit on the Hog Rider plus the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Very, very well done. It's 2 plus 4 plus 1, 7 elixir to stop Princess, Goblins, 9 elixir, 2 elixir advantage for Flash. Very well played. It's going to convert that elixir advantage into a furnace. That's some free damage. Nice. That's going to open up the furnace to be able to do a lot of damage. Princess is one of the best ways to handle furnace. With that Log taking down the Princess, this furnace opens up to be able to do a lot of hurt. See that right side tower down to 2-100, and Flash has essentially not had to really do anything. Use the Mini P.E.K.K.A to defend the Princess. There's the Log again. Maybe Flash is going to look to play another furnace. Their elixir even, but Flash has done a lot of damage to Dark Slayer's towers. Zap to get a few extra swings. Nice. The Hog Rider trades with the furnace. That's a 4-4-6. He had to play Hog Rider Zap, but doesn't have to deal with the fact that that furnace will be chipping away. Nice. Good mind game there. Played the Miner in the front. Dark Slayer thought it was in the back. Miner got a few swings. Ice Spirit onto the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Log is going to stop the Princess. The response is going to be the Hog Rider. And there's the furnace getting popped up, but the minions actually didn't take any damage from that. And again, another furnace shut down. Guards are going to make their way across, but how is Dark Slayer really going to get the Hog Rider onto the tower? That's going to be the big question right now. Here comes another Hog Rider. Furnace is available, but can't really drop that. There's a freeze! And the Ice Spirit counter, oh my god. Gets 2 swings. I think that was 2 or 3 swings. Can't tell, but that was actually a pretty decent connection. The question is, how are you going to defend this push coming here? Goblins to deal with a mini P.E.K.K.A, minions to deal with a miner. And I actually like that arrangement of choices based on how much damage and health each card had. Again, log to counter the princess. Fire spirits takes down the minions. We're in overtime now. Hog jump with the mini P.E.K.K.A. Freeze on hand. There's a zap. He could play the freeze, but I don't think he's gonna do it. Mini P.E.K.K.A comes in and swings and might swing on the tower. He gets one big swing, 474 on the left side, and now the Hog Rider becomes incredibly dangerous. Maybe play the log, but there is freeze. Oh, and that is the freeze that you're looking for. That was absolutely beautiful from the Darkslayer. Knew that was the key time to throw out that card. Hit it at the exact right moment, and Hog Freeze takes a win. We were just asking ourselves that question, and Hog Freeze. That's crazy. Hog Freeze. All right, let's watch one more match before we jump over to qualifier A. All right. Twig Data, the designer of the Bowler Crossbow, is playing another crossbow deck. We're seeing crossbow. That's crazy. Against Popcorn, who played a really strong trifecta. Twig Data is playing crossbow lightning, Inferno Tower, and then they have mini P.E.K.K.A Ice, which seems like a lot of defensive cards and really relying on the crossbow to do damage. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Twig Data. Twig. How do you read it? If it's not Twig, then what is it? There we go. Crossbow card getting good value. Nice. We like it. Let's put the alright. Well, I want to put the collector up there, but I really don't think that's a key card here. Maybe it is. I don't know. I still think the Hog Rider is kind of what Popcorn needs to rely on here. Alright, let's see. Crossbow Lightning. So this is getting more and more ridiculous. We have the crossbow, then we have the bowler, now we have lightning. Twig. Hog Rider gets frozen by Spirit. And P.E.K.K.A is doing well. Good zap is going to clear the way for the crossbow tags onto the tower. Now Popcorn has to live with, oh my god, just look at it go. He's crying. Strong emotions have been evoked. Gets zapped, but oh my god, already 1,000 damage. Popcorn's strong emotions. We're seeing them on display now. Have to thank Supercell incredibly for their excellent emotions feature. Wow, okay, so actually that's not as crazy as it seems, because there's the crossbow is a big aggressive thing that Twig uses. So you're never really gonna be in range of the King Tower anyways. Able to take down 2 elixir collectors? Great. Do it every single time of the day. That's great. Even if it was done in jest, I would justify that move. I think that's a good move. Alright, Twig. Show me your moves. Valkyrie coming across, gonna get shot down by the tower, and here comes the next crossbow. No, he's gonna want cards to be able to defend it. Like perhaps the mini P.E.K.K.A. Don't know where it is in his cycle. Here it comes. Nice, Inferno Tower in front. Guards to defend. Valkyrie's gonna do pretty good against the guards though. And there's a good poison by Popcorn to slow down that crossbow a lot. That's actually a very key card to play against the crossbow. lowers its DPS significantly because not only does the crossbow attack slower, the crossbow will degenerate itself naturally and then degenerate more from the poison damage. Really, really hurts crossbows. Poison is a great card against them. Here it comes, and Popcorn's much smarter now, spreading out his elixir collectors. Still standing at 1416 health, but again being pressured out by this crossbow. Here comes a poison, but it's tagged onto the tower. Maybe a zap. 870 health. But how are you gonna go on offense, Popcorn? There's already another crossbow prepped. Alright, Inferno Tower is going to be able to stop the Hog Rider. Here comes a Hog Push. Oh my god, Trifecta versus Lightning is one of the big things that Rumham and I are talking about. Lightning against Trifecta is cleaned up. No problem. No problem. Here comes another Trifecta push. Lightning is on deck, but not enough elixir. So you think about it, Lightning is 6, a Trifecta push, Musketeer, Valkyrie is another 4, and then Hog Rider is another 4. You're spending 12 elixir. If you get it taken down by a Lightning, you're at like a 6 elixir advantage. Nice. Chipping away at the tower. Oh my god, the Musketeer actually wasn't far enough in front. No! Oh my god! Oh my god. Twig. Crossbow is just winning and winning and winning. How do you stop it? I don't know if you can. I don't know if you can. Oh my god. Bowler crossbow, crossbow lightning. Cards that you would never imagine would ever appear. Let's go ahead and jump into qualifier group A. Let's see what's going on down there. Watch some of those matches. Crossbow. Man, I was reading chat, and a user named PatsFan312 has said, Siege has made the game fun for me again. PatsFan, if we had a time machine, if we went together and got into the time machine and went back 3 months, 2 months, and you said that statement, I'm pretty sure every single body in chat right now would be yelling at you. Everybody would be calling you mean things, just the worst things possible, and they would say you are crazy. But in the context that we live in right now, Siege has indeed. It's been an archetype that has been largely ignored ever since the nerfs. Oh, I see it. That was you 3 months ago. You were one of them. You were part of the group. You were the chosen one. Alright, one thing that I've wanted to see for a while is double prints. Oh my god, against Mortar? I didn't even notice. We're just watching Siege games all over the place. Mortar and Crossbow, I'm so glad we made these cards. So these 2 cards of Mortar and Crossbow, Rumham made specifically for Woody, because he's like, Woody's always winning in our tournaments, he's always playing in our tournaments, we may as well have a card for the cards that he plays. Yes. And so we have Mortar and Crossbow. Featured on the left side, Janub is going to be playing a triple legendary Mortar Furnace deck. So as opposed to Beatdown, this is much more CG than you would expect, much more chippy. Maybe not CG because there are a lot of units pushing across the board, but as opposed to Woody's deck with the Minion Horde and the Mini P.E.K.K.A looking to do big damage very quickly, Janub is looking to do consistent damage over time and really looking to make sure that across a longer period of time, eventually Janub will do enough damage to take down one tower. Bakalo, on the other hand, running double Prince without the P.E.K.K.A, double Prince with Ice Spirit, double Prince with Guards, double Prince with Mini P.E.K.K.A, a very, very kind of glass cannon-y deck. Somewhat reminiscent of kind of like a Hog Rider kind of double threat thing, but very interesting. Also note that the Dark Prince is level 3, which could end up hurting because Dark Princes are actually very squishy. So the extra health really goes a long way, both on the shields and on the actual unit. Okay. Good defense. Very, very good defense by Bakalo. Shields down for the guards, but Princess makes its way across, and maybe that pump is going to give Bakalo the opportunity. It's going to win and do damage to that tower, plus a zap. Oh, the Fire Spirit's taken down. Ice Wizard gets taken down by the Prince too. And the Furnace. Maybe one more charge. Oh my god, that Princess was so value. Oh god. Oh god, that has to hurt. That hurt me watching it. That Prince got 3 charges. Took down the Ice Wizard, took down the Furnace, and then hit that tower. Oh no, shooting onto the Dark Prince. But the Dark Prince avoids it because it gets into charge. Nice. Mini P.E.K.K.A takes down the mortar pretty handily. Valkyrie not played quite in time. Bakalo is off to a good start. That Prince will soak up 2 Fire Spirits worth of damage. Interesting to note that it staggers the Prince. He'll actually attempt to attack and stop his charge. Nice. Takes out the Ice Wizard and maybe one more charge coming. Ah, didn't get it because it was slowed down. But still a lot of damage. Janub needs to figure out how he wants to justify this Mortar Furnace deck. He's not been able to defend either of his structures, and so his damage capacity has been reduced by quite a bit. Bakalo has been really good about defending. Essentially, I mean, only 200 damage taken on that left side tower is really good for 2 minutes into the match. Dark Prince pushing across, actually split pushing. Ice Spirit gets taken down by the mortar shot. And this mortar played defensively. Gets one more shot, but the Mini P.E.K.K.A dodges it because it walks too fast. And the Furnace gets taken down by the Mini P.E.K.K.A. And it looks like as the cards are being dropped, Janub gets further and further and further behind, and that's a big charge by the Prince. Mini P.E.K.K.A will handle that Prince very well. Just so many cards being dropped on either side. Bakalo is just going crazy. He's just dropping cards left and right. I don't know if he's even looking at what's happening. Double Princess on the board. Plus the Prince. Oh my god, and Bakalo wins in big fashion. And he gets a charge on the left side tower. And now the right side tower is in jeopardy. What do you even defend? I mean, it seems like all of a sudden once double elixir hit, Bakalo is just cycling and cycling and throwing cards out. And going crazy, and the Mini P.E.K.K.A takes a swing on that right side tower. Absolutely insane. 580 and 630. It's almost like we're watching a triple musketeer match. And this split push is absolutely insane. Mini P.E.K.K.A comes across. Dark Prince is going to feather dust that Mini P.E.K.K.A. Both cards die, but now there's just a Princess left there. Miner's going to be the answer to it. And finally does it calm down. Prince played at 6 elixir. 4 elixir remaining. Here comes maybe a double Prince push? We'll see. No, again with a split push. Janub is really, really committing to split pushing. Nice zap. Doesn't end up taking down the Valkyrie, but good intentions. Very, very close to it. Good splash on the Princess. Defends the Princess with the Prince. If that's not a romantic story, I don't know what is. Oh my god, and the double Prince getting splashed by the Princess is really, really giving Bakalo a lot of value right now. And it could be just the thing that Bakalo needs to end up taking this match. Now double Princess set up on the right side. And the Prince coming down the middle. Takes down the Mini P.E.K.K.A with the extended range. Mini P.E.K.K.A doesn't even get a chance to swing. The Miner to defend. And it's just getting worse and worse for Janub. And there we go. double Prince Bakalo, cycling the double princes so incredibly quick, it just looked like he never ran out of elixir. And Janub could not get a foothold on that match. Well played. Incredibly well played. Whew. There are a lot of really, really interesting games today. Man. All right. Oh, Marcel P. I lost in the third round again. 3 weeks in a row now. It's very frustrating, Marcel P. The tournament is very, very difficult to navigate for sure. Anybody who plays the Super Magical Cup will tell you so. Zadian versus Darth Jarjar, 2 rising names in the Super Magical Cup. Darth Jarjar, Knight, Giant, Triple Musketeer. Those 3 things are what constitutes Darth Jarjar's characteristic. Meanwhile, Zadian gonna be running the classic giant poison with the miner in addition. Tank miner is always great. All right, let's get his smug face on the board. And for you, man, I wish we had a card for the knight, but the triple musketeer is definitely the feature here. Zadian versus Darth Jarjar. Self-proclaimed triple musketeer expert, and I would agree with that. Here comes a miner. Gonna slap that princess. Oh my god, triple musketeer right in the back. Darth Jarjar is wasting no time. Doesn't need a collector. Doesn't need a giant. Doesn't need double elixir time. He's just gonna do it. Sponsored by Nike. Barbarians. Gonna take down the musketeer. Wow, and the musketeer survives. Guards has to be played on the right side. And what card is left for Zadian? Maybe poison. There it is. He's gonna handle that situation pretty well. Barbarians are so slow. 1 swing? 2 swings? This is a good amount of damage for barbarians. If you just play barbarians at the bridge and the opponent doesn't play anything and the barbarians walk across, they will actually kill a tower. Something interesting to know. Oh, the mind games. Wow, I actually can't believe that happened. Darth Jar Jar must have identified something. So typically when you play it up on that back left corner, nobody guesses that spot, because if you play your miner there, then it actually hits the king tower if your opponent doesn't play a card. But not only did Darth Jar Jar play his card in the right, play his card to defend, he played it in the right spot. And I always say this every time this happens. If you see that your opponent does that, maybe try to let 1 or 2 elixir collectors go to see if he activates your tower, because it actually hurts so much. Double musketeers on the left side, single musketeer on the right side, doing a ton of damage. Oh my god, 1001 health and 2000 on the left side. Darth Jar Jar again. Darth Jar Jar strikes back. There we go. Darth Jar Jar this time tried to guess the more sensible spot, but Zadian, playing the games, playing the mind games, kept on playing it in a dangerous spot. And Darth Jar Jar had the opportunity. If he had made the read and was like, I'm just going to let this next miner go, then the king tower would have been activated. But I don't think Darth Jar Jar actually needs that to win this match, because his 3 musketeers have been doing so much damage. Barbarians chew up the giant, and there's actually so much damage on the right side. Poison is going to really hurt all of that. This is why poison is such a popular card, but it's not actually ticking the princess. And oh my god, giant plus barbarians and the musketeers plus the princess. No more tower for Zadian. 14 seconds left. And that's a lot of damage that Zadian has to push. And he's got a slow deck. He's got a giant deck, and I don't think Zadian will be able to do that. Darth Jar Jar really making a case for 3 musketeers being the de facto deck to play against normal giant poison decks. And I I really truly believe that Three Musketeers finds its place against Giant Poison decks. Really. The nature of Giant Poison decks being slow pushing, also being a medium-sized elixir investment, allows you to make a larger elixir investment and gain back that time that you had to wait just by being more effective. Giant Poison as kind of like a deck concept just hurts against Triple Musketeer, and Darth Jarjar really, really emphasizes that. Oh, are we... Oh, we're starting to find out who's moving into the top 8. So let me go ahead and check this bracket now to see how far along we are. The top 8 is being formulated right now, and I believe... Oh my gosh, I believe it actually is there. Is it ready? Let me go ahead and talk. See if the admins... Alright. Let's see Marcel P versus Apex Predator. Let's watch this match. Marcel P versus Apex Predator. Gonna be a weird minor Ice Wizard mini P.E.K.K.A. Barbarian deck, and this is kind of a triple legendary deck, but it's kind of very balanced. There's not really a key card that sticks out like a minion horde or like a mortar or any kind of like really big win condition. It just seems to be a deck that Apex Predator wants to play to just outplay his opponent, do well, and then we haven't seen the Ice Wizard in a long time. Let's go ahead and take a look at the Ice Wizard and gain some kind of an advantage. Let's take a look at Mini P.E.K.K.A. 2. Mini P.E.K.K.A. is a very popular deck. Meanwhile, Marcel P running a minor Ice Wizard Poison combination. Got the Collector, got the Guards, got the Inferno Tower. Very defensive. Both these decks actually seem very vanilla. They seem very reliant on just playing your card solidly and playing to an elixir advantage. Thank you, Dog David. Man, somebody give that guy... Dog David needs a shout out. Thank you for letting them know you're doing the good work. It's absolutely true. Minor, nice. Ice Wizard, we featured the Ice Wizard, and there we go. Oh, and you couldn't do it for yourself, buddy. A little too slow on the draw. Mini P.E.K.K.A. does a lot of damage though. 2 shots from the tower plus the Mini P.E.K.K.A. was able to take down that miner pretty quick. Oh no, the princess. One last shot. Apex Predator leaking elixir like nobody's business. Losing the Collector fight. Now he has to play his second. He's got it. He's ready. He's ready to defend the miner. Apex Predator not going to go for it, actually. Are you going to let him get away with 2 Collector? Nope. Pop it up. Oh my god, Marcel P. That was good. Marcel P identified where it was going, placed it at the exact right time. And again, Apex Predator loses the connection. This actually hurts a lot. Not only now is Apex Predator at 0 collectors, Marcel P can opt to play 1 more collector here, and then notice that his own collector is at, yep, 60%. One more time. Show me one more time. Show me that trick one more time, Marcel P. Show me your moves. Oh my god! 3 for 3! Oh my god. Marcel P. Marcel P. And 3 for 3 Apex Predator does not defend. That hurts so much. Now the question is, can you convert this advantage that you worked so hard to get into a tournament win? Good job on defending your elixir collectors, but now what are you going to do with it? You're in double elixir phase, you can have double elixir collectors. Now what are you going to do? Oh my god! He's hacking! He's actually hacking! Anybody who's played against Miner knows how difficult that is, but every single time. This is, if this was, he's obviously not hacking, but if this was any other game, there would be insults flying around. Because that is actually amazing. Oh my god. 4 for 4? But how are you going to convert that into something tangible? Show me now, Marcel P. You were good on defense. Show me how you are on offense now. Oh, nope. That was not the... Oh, it didn't tag onto the collector. Wow. Apex Predator having a really difficult time. Here comes the mini P.E.K.K.A. Marcel P has a big elixir advantage. He's cooled down on the elixir collector game so far. Both players have. Apex Predator has largely given up on elixir collectors. Marcel P still has one existing. Good damage done by Apex Predator on the right side. Managed to find a big connection. And now that Marcel P has given up on the elixir collector game, I mean, essentially all of that hard work was earned just for about 1,000 damage on the right side tower. And that might not even convert into a win for Marcel P. So this is a big question. Even if you are good at defending elixir collector, and it is a very difficult thing to do for sure, how do you convert that elixir into damage onto your opponent's tower? And it comes from having to play your cards very, very smartly. Miner in the back, going to be ticking away at the tower. Finally, the mini P.E.K.K.A. gets dropped. I will take that down. Barbarians against the Ice Wizard. The Zap tries to hold the mini P.E.K.K.A. back for just a little bit, but not going to be long enough. Princess gets taken down by the Miner, and now Marcel P is on the offense, but his Miner has already been on the field for a long time. Gets taken down by the mini P.E.K.K.A. And overall, I feel like the Barbarians for Apex Predator have been the big differentiating factor between him and Marcel P in this match. The Barbarians are tanky enough, and the Miner lasts long enough. Oh my god, and mini P.E.K.K.A. takes the swing. Oh my god, the Zap was perfect. Just that split second. Didn't work the first time he did it, but the second time, and there we go. This time, your Miner defense not going to be good enough to defend your tower. Marcel P was in such a big advantage to start the match all the way until overtime. Marcel P was playing really, really well, but the instant he got off the elixir collector game, you can see that Apex Predator started coming back, and the Barbarians, time and time again, the fact that they existed so long across a bridge put a lot of pressure onto Marcel P. The mini P.E.K.K.A., that one mini P.E.K.K.A. with just a sliver of health, guards were going to be able to stand in front of the tower and draw the mini P.E.K.K.A.'s aggro away, but that Zap held them up for just long enough. Just long enough. All right. All right, looks like we have the top 8 ready. I really like how the players, after playing, come to the chat and talk about it. That's really cool. I really love hearing their thoughts. Salty or not, or just well thought out, interesting points. Like, I really like this discussion they're having about Miner. Marcel P, oh my gosh. Heart goes out to you. You played well. Does not take away from your player skill at all. But that is very unfortunate. Miner is so tough to play against. I am salty. There's so much salt in my blood. Alright, just waiting to join the SuperMagicalCup clan. Alright, looks like some games have already been played. So let's take a look at this bracket here. Just checking the Discord. Make sure that things are going okay. Alright, we've made it to the top 8, guys. Whew, there's a lot of Clash Royale to watch today. Let's put up the bracket here. Let's see who is in our top 8. So we have Apex Predator, Marcus 35, Gray, Twig Data, Darth Jarjar, Simple, Bakalo, and Woody in the top 8. So Woody making it again to the top 8 with the crossbow bowler deck against Bakalo, the double prince extraordinaire. Darth Jarjar, the 3 musketeer hero against Simple. Simple is a player that actually, the name rings a bell, but I have to confess I haven't really watched a lot of Simple's matches, and so I would have to wonder what really makes Simple a big contender in the top 8, and we'll see in this tournament. Twig Data, as we know, built crossbow decks both for Woody and himself, and won with his siege deck. I wonder what his alternate deck is against Gray. Marcus 35 and Apex Predator, who we've seen play briefly, will fill out this week's top 8. And so top 8 is in the points, top 4 is in the money. So this round is really, really important if you want to win prize money. And the first match we will be watching, is going to be Bakalo versus Woody. They're the first ones to get done. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Bakalo versus Woody. Of course, here we're gonna have to throw up the mortar for the blue featured card. We're gonna have Prince. All right. So, double Prince versus minor mortar beatdown. Actually, I have no idea how this game will play out. I'm not gonna pretend to know. I've never seen this happen before. So, those are the decks. If I were to guess, I would have to say Prince to defend the minor, then counter push is going to be really effective for Bakalo. But again, Woody, almost the most dangerous part of his deck is how he employs his minion horde and his princess and the ways that he defends it. The mortar is kind of a big pressuring point, but I think Bakalo, judging by the way he played against his opponent, forgot his name. We've seen Bakalo play against a minor mortar deck already, and he played very, very well around that. Woody, obviously a different monster, but we will see. Let's take a look. Nice. The mini P.E.K.K.A tagged onto the mortar instead of the tombstone, and so the tombstone did end up destroying the mini P.E.K.K.A, but not much more damage came after that. Princess to handle the minion horde, and 1 charge shot. Oh my god, that was worth it. As you see, the Prince is a featured card here. 319 damage. That means the charge hit will do 638. Is that right? Yeah, 638 damage. That's a lot. 638 is a lot of damage on the tower. Mini P.E.K.K.A to defend, and they will trade. Nice, the zap actually stops the trade from happening. 1 swing is good on the mortar. It's going to decrease the amount of shots it takes by a lot. Maybe only 1 more in that mortar. Ice Spirit Prince. The skeleton actually takes down the charge. That tombstone is going to be really, really good against the Prince. Need to play the Dark Prince alongside it. But Bakalo likes to play his princes not together, and instead very spread out. Minion Horde will handle that very, very easily. Minor tries to protect the minions from the princess, but 1 more survives, and again, every single time, Woody is just a player who seems to allow his minion hordes to do really, really well aggressively and not just defensively. The miner on the left corner of the tower is a very key spot to attract people who like to play princess or ranged units in the middle. Really, really understanding the space of the map and how players want to play their cards. Ice Spirit leading. Will take down the mini P.E.K.K.A, and the princess cleared out the skeleton, and here comes a zap. But in the end, the big victory for Bakalo is the princess getting 2 shots off on the tower, maybe a 3rd one. There it is. Dangerous situation for Bakalo here. How is he going to handle the minion horde? Ice Spirit will take down 3 of them. Princess going to try to splash. But again, still a good amount of damage done by Woody. And that princess might finish off the tower. No, the zap. 90 health left on the tower. And now the skeletons are going to take down the mini P.E.K.K.A. Bakalo needs to figure out a way to really push past the defensive units of Woody. Tombstone is down, and the Ice Spirit will freeze the Mini P.E.K.K.A, and so the Prince is going to get another hit. No, Ice Spirit just in time. Miner on the right side will take down that tower. Bakalo went for the trade, but Woody just barely played the Ice Wizard in front and takes the victory. Very well played by Woody. Unfortunate that the Tombstone is a card that exists. Just such a hard card for the Prince to get by. It's almost designed kind of to really foil Prince play in many ways. So Bakalo down 0-1 against Woody. Woody takes the first win, and Woody has to move to his second deck, which, as we know, is going to be the Bowler Crossbow deck. Alright, so let's take a look here. Woody's card will change to the Crossbow, and we don't have a Bowler card. And also Bakalo swaps his own deck to Giant Poison. It's going to be his alternate deck. Let's see who takes the win here. So we've already seen Woody's Bowler Crossbow deck, and we already kind of know what Giant Poison acts like. Let's see how these two decks interact. I'm interested to see how what could be argued the current most meta deck right now plays against this Bowler Crossbow combination. Alright, slow start. Woody has not cycled to his crossbow just yet, but how is he going to deal with his push on the left side? Barbarian is going to be the card of choice, but Poison is really going to hurt that a lot. And the Skeletons are protecting the Giant pretty well. Tesla Tower. Maybe one shot on the tower. About even. About an even trade, but now the card cycles are lined up. So Woody has kind of the combination that he wants to play with, maybe a collector here. He's going to give away his elixir advantage to react to what Bakalo does. So Woody was definitely at the elixir advantage. He leaked elixir just to make sure that he did not play the elixir collector into an aggressive push or the crossbow into something that was going to take it down. And so I think it's actually smart that Woody gave up his elixir advantage there. Just a very, very small difference that I think is very important to know. A lot of players, and rightfully so, know that wasting elixir is very, very painful in this game, and you really don't want to do that. But sometimes you spend it just to make sure that you play your cards out right. Timing is very, very important in Clash Royale. Musketeer working its way into the bowler. But now guards and ice wizards are what's left, and crossbow can be played now. There it is on the right side. How will Bakalo respond? Giant gets placed down, and that's going to be pretty good. But Bakalo now needs to figure out how to get to the crossbow. He's going to actually go for a split push, but Barbarians are going to stop that quite a bit. And now the crossbow tags on the tower, and it has so much duration left. The zap is going to retarget it onto the guards. A lot of duration being wasted by Bakalo. And I actually kind of like how he approached that defense, but he just did not commit any cards to actually shoot at the crossbow at all. And I don't know if it was intentional, but it definitely did not end up working out in his favor. And that crossbow does a ton of damage to the right side tower. 586. And every single time the Giant moves across the field, it doesn't seem to survive long enough. Guards plus Skeletons to handle this crossbow. And they actually do tank quite a lot of hits. Crossbow down to half health. And now Musketeer gonna try to do what it can. Again being zapped out, but it's not gonna help. And Bakalo gets the tower chewed out by the crossbow there. And it wasn't even really a combination of the bowler and the crossbow. It was more that the bowler was just so great at being a tanky body that does a good amount of damage that usually when the Giants push across, the bowler will stand there and just tank up any supporting troops that Woody is using. And the fact of the matter is, as opposed to something like a Royal Giant or a Giant, the bowler attacks units. So if you typically imagine a situation where two Giants are coming across a bridge, right? Usually your support units, it's a race to defeat the other card, right? And the Giant will continuously, because it's chasing buildings, will continuously put itself in more and more danger. But the bowler will sit at the safety of its side of the bridge. You can't drop units on top of it to extend, to do more DPS to it. You have to play units on your side of the map, push across, and then be at the mercy of your opponent's drop territory. So that's an interesting thing to know about the bowler, is that it's very tanky and it's ranged and it goes after units, so it won't walk into its own death. Interesting interaction to note from this game between Bakalo and Woody. So Woody moves on 2-0 to the top 4, and again, Woody makes another performance in a tournament where he makes it all the way to the top 4. Nevertheless, let's move on to our next match, Darth Jarjar versus Simple. Darth Jarjar obviously running a triple musketeer deck, but this is his alternate deck. So remember, his first deck is Giant, Knight, plus 3 musketeers. This time around, it's going to be Miner, Valkyrie, and then the triple musketeer. So the Miner and the Valkyrie are kind of like the tanky cards for the triple musketeer as opposed to the Giant and the Knight. So, with that being said, let's go ahead and put the featured cards up here. Man, I feel like Fireball is going to be the king card in this matchup. Zap, Fireball, Fire Spirits is really going to be what's going to stop the 3 musketeers. But this is an interesting deck from Simple. Not Giant Poison. It's going to be Giant, Fireball, Zap. It's going to have 2 of the 3 musketeers plus a mini P.E.K.K.A. Interesting deck from Simple. Again, I think we're starting to see a lot more vanilla decks. Decks that don't necessarily have like a key place in the meta and isn't really like necessarily taking advantage of like certain strong cards or the meta or whatnot. It's just good cards, played well, earns you the win. No gimmick really. Alright, Skeletons moving across for the cycle. Darth Jarjar commits to the Valkyrie. Collector in the middle of a push. And Miner to handle the Musketeer. Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus a Zap is going to keep the Musketeer alive, and this could hurt a lot. We'll see. The splash from the Princess really saves that situation. Takes down a low health Ice Wizard and the Princess. That's really value. Darth Jarjar off to a good start, basically getting away with an Elixir Collector. Mini P.E.K.K.A. handles that situation quite nicely. And maybe a second collector for Darth Jarjar. Zap is going to earn the Mini P.E.K.K.A. the kill on the Ice Wizard, and that's going to be really key. Simple has to spend Zap to make sure his tower doesn't take any Mini P.E.K.K.A. strike. 572 health off your tower if you let that happen. Insane amounts of value. Here comes the first split. Darth Jarjar in double elixir mode now. Double collector mode, I should say. Valkyrie Musketeer on the left. Has no way to push that Valkyrie off. And the Giant shoves the Valkyrie into splash range. Mini P.E.K.K.A. chops up the Valkyrie. And the Skeletons will handle the Mini P.E.K.K.A. on the left side. And now coming on the right side. Well defended by Simple, but takes a lot of damage from the single Musketeer push on the with the Valkyrie on the left. And Darth Jar Jar will continue to extend the double collector situation, now in double elixir mode. He's going to focus his double musketeers on the left side, and the Giant is actually offset this time, and that might get really dangerous. Valkyrie is going to be a card that Darth Jar Jar has to watch out for. There it gets placed in position to splash both. And that's going to be a solid defense. Now Darth Jar Jar has to be thinking about the right side push that Simple is putting together. Mini P.E.K.K.A. gets caught up on the Skeletons. And another good defense from Darth Jar Jar. Even though this time his offensive push wasn't quite as effective. Another collector to again extend the double collector phase. Darth Jar Jar is really keeping on top of his elixir game, making sure that that doesn't happen, or rather that what happened to Marcel P doesn't happen to him. Valkyrie plus 2 musketeers. Maybe Valkyrie played for Simple at the key position. And that's going to clean up the double musketeers really handily. Valkyrie dies just before it gets to the Skeletons, and the Mini P.E.K.K.A. then gets caught up. Again playing the split, but how do you deal with double musketeer? There's the fireball. I think the right side push is what you need to be looking for. And Simple scouted it out and again played the Valkyrie in the right position. The Princess survives actually, and this could be really bad for Simple. Has to play another card in front of the Mini P.E.K.K.A. But so much damage done by Darth Jar Jar. That was a big connection. The Miner did a ton, plus the Princess constantly shooting. And again, Darth Jarjar has to deal with double musketeer. We'll fireball the 2 and zap to make sure that he does not deal with it. But that's 6 elixir down. Nice. The miner didn't actually tank the tower. That would have been a very different push if it did. Still, a good amount of damage for Darth Jarjar. Nothing quite in lethal range yet, but Darth Jarjar comes close. Simple needs to make something happen. He hasn't been able to put together a really coherent giant push in a long time, and this might be his opportunity to. Again, triple musketeer played. Here's a giant. Maybe fireball zap. We'll see. There's a fireball. And Simple's going to let those musketeers just walk in. Miner to be played on the right side. No defense there. Fire Spirits plus Ice Wizard do tag on. Only 2 swings from the miner. And now Simple has a giant push coming across. And this looks like a very good situation for Simple. And he could do a lot of damage. There's a big connection. Darth Jarjar does not have a good amount of elixir. Mini P.E.K.K.A gets cleaned up. And the Mini P.E.K.K.A will swing on the tower. And oh my god, what a loss. What a loss. Simple finally pushes through. After so many attempts of giant pushes, Darth Jarjar's defense was so on point. But then I think Darth Jarjar stretched himself too far, tried to play that miner on offense while his Mini P.E.K.K.A was really kind of low health, and there were a lot of cards in between. I think Darth Jarjar just overextended just a little bit at the end, and Simple was able to convert that into a big giant push. It was just too much for Darth Jarjar to handle. Not enough elixir, not the right cards in hand to deal with the giant push. And so Darth Jarjar will lose 1. Simple gains 1 on his opponent. Let's take a look at the next match. Darth Jarjar holds the same deck, Simple, using a Giant Furnace. It's interesting. Normally we would see Minor Furnace, but this time we see Giant Furnace. Let's take a look at how this match plays out. Alright, we're on the bottom side of the racket here. So Darth Jarjar has 0-1 to Simple. Woody's 2-0 up. Good arrows. It's interesting. This is the second instance of arrows we've seen in the tournament. The first one being Woody. The second one being Simple. And much like to his name, Simple seems to really like running somewhat simple decks. This one's not quite as vanilla as his other deck. This one has the minor kind of chipping damage, which is kind of a new meta card, but in many ways I still don't think it's not really kind of like a minor tanking pop-up tank trick deck, you know what I mean? It's just playing cards on your side, having them walk over to their side and do damage. And that hurts. That 3 Musketeer minor combination did a ton of damage. Simple just didn't have the cards at hand. And in many ways, like, double elixir phase does help triple musketeer a lot, but in certain situations it can be really painful for playing against things like triple musketeer because you don't get enough cards and you don't cycle quick enough to have the chump cards to deal with the 3 musketeers, if that is your deck's answer to them. Nice poison. Mini P.E.K.K.A will defend, and the Valkyrie finally, but the left side push is one you really have to be careful about. There's no elixir on the field, and Simple is going to lose his tower. And again, like I said, double elixir, it can hurt the triple musketeer deck because it's such an expensive deck, but by the same token, your opponent doesn't gain elixir fast enough to really be able to play its cheaper cards, like the 3 or 4 elixir cards. Before double elixir, it's a very real moment of time where you have 2 or 3 seconds before you get to be to get to play a 3 elixir or 4 elixir drop. You have to defend the right side from 2 musketeers, and all of a sudden you don't have enough elixir for the left side. The cycling is just not quite fast enough. Alright, Mini P.E.K.K.A Valkyrie for defense on the right. Miner tries to pick off the musketeer in the back to no avail. Triple musketeer on defense, concentrated on one side. The arrows is going to try to do what it can, but that's just a scratch on the back for the musketeers. And now Valkyrie leading, and this is going to hurt. Oh my god. Oh my god. If you thought 3 musketeers split was scary, take a look at 3 musketeers when they're clumped together. They're going to chunk down this tower. 2 shots. Oh my god. And the mini P.E.K.K.A. takes down 2 towers. Darth Jarjar going to come back against Simple. 1-1. 2 crowns to none. Darth Jarjar really demonstrating why 3 Musketeers is a strong card to pick right now. There's just so many creative things that you can do with it. It's much more flexible than one would imagine. And so now Darth Jarjar has to swap out his own deck to his alternate. This is going to be the Giant Knight deck. Simple has to stay on his Giant Furnace deck. Let's take a look at how this match will play out. Giant Poison seem to have a hard time. Only Poison and Arrows. There's actually no Zap in Simple's deck, and that might be the one thing that hurts him the most in this series. Without Zap, there's no real way to stop the 3 Musketeers from pumping out damage. And I think that really is a missing key here. Simple almost needs to make sure he always commits Poison to 3 Musketeers. I don't actually know if there's a situation where Simple can actually justify not playing Poison against 3 Musketeers just because of how his deck is. Three Musketeers doing what they can. But Simple actually comes out on top of that push. Poison on top of the Giant. Ice Spirit is actually going to do really good defending. Darth Jarjar had the timing perfectly so that the Musketeer turned around onto the Ice Spirit and then got frozen. Tower takes very little damage. The crazy situation, only the Poison really. Simple continuing to chip away with the Furnace. Musketeer in the back. Triple Musketeer split 1 and 2. 2 to the right. Poison on the 2 on the right. And that's what we were talking about. Committing the poisons purely to handle the 3 Musketeers. Or rather, yeah, the 3 Musketeer drop. Valkyrie then gets placed and will actually put a stop to that push. But the left side is what you have to watch out for. Barbarian plus Musketeer. This is a strong push. And again, we're not quite in double elixir phase. You can play the minions, but these Barbarians are going to do a lot of damage. Look at that, 1.5k. Each swing from the Barbarian is about 100 off. 70, 100, around there. 1.2k on the left side, that's a big connection for Darth Jar Jar. And it's not very often that you see Barbarians make it up to the tower, but like I said, 5 elixir Barbarian drop, if you let them walk up to your tower, they will actually kill it. No help. The balancing of the Barbarians is all in their walk speed. And so if you can actually get them up to the tower, they do a ton of damage. And that's why they're so great defensively too. You drop them to surround a card like the Giant in this situation, and they just chew it out. Good use of arrows there, but the right side is taking a ton of damage, and Darth Jar Jar doing what Triple Musketeer does best, split push. Deal with one side and you don't have enough for the other side, and deal with the other side and your one side already takes so much damage in exchange. Mini P.E.K.K.A. to handle the double Musketeer on the right. 450 and a perfectly timed Ice Spirit to handle the minions, and this hurts, and I think that's the end of Simple. He played all his elixir and was not able to stop the Musketeer or the Giant. Darth Jar Jar with 2 3 Musketeer decks makes it into the top 4. And that was actually something interesting that we talked about when Rumham and I first saw Darth Jar Jar. When he lost in the top 4, we were talking about, we felt like if Darth Jar Jar found a way to make 2 3 Musketeer decks rather than having 3 Musketeer and then having the another deck, another alternate deck, it could have been that Darth Jar Jar would have been much more successful, and it seems like that's the case. Darth Jar Jar puts himself into the top 4 for, I believe, the 2nd time. All right, let's take a look here. So I think okay, cool. Let's refresh this. Darth Jar Jar moves on, and he will face Woody in the top 4. Let's go ahead and go to the next match here in the top 8. So Darth, Jarjar, we saw simple. Apex Predator versus Marcus 35. Let's take a look here. Apex Predator fought hard on the way to the top 8. Marcus 35 similarly running a giant poison deck. Kind of the classical giant poison. We can leave the giant up there. Let's go ahead and take a look at the miner. So, actually the collector is pretty important, but we'll leave the miner up there. Apex Predator, again, miner, barbarian, triple legendary, barbarian, mini P.E.K.K.A. Very interesting deck. I think it's a little bit passive, very, very control oriented. Really looking just to outplay in terms of elixir and card drop timing and cycle. Top side now of the bracket. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Ice Wizard is going to trade. The mini P.E.K.K.A. is actually not being slowed down by the Ice Wizard. Now it's going to hurt Marcus 35's push quite a bit. Lone Miner just going to town on that tower. There's a lot of damage. Good play from Apex Predator. It's a pretty decent opening for him. Collector down and maybe Marcus 35 will trade. There it is. Wow, that mini P.E.K.K.A. won that duel pretty handily. Guards needs to be placed to block. It's a good play from Marcus 35. But now at a elixir even after playing that princess, and the poison will definitely take down the princess and do a lot of damage to the collector. I wonder if he could have caught the tower. But both players are successfully able to destroy the other's collector. Mini P.E.K.K.A. Ice Spirit plus the miner pops up. Good defense by Marcus 35. I think the Ice Wizard might tag onto the princess there. Ooh, Barbarian's in front to defend the princess, and I think that's a good drop. Mini P.E.K.K.A. plus one lone Barbarian will start swinging away at the giant and take it down. But guards are ready for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. block. Ooh, the splash from the princess takes down all the shields. This might get dangerous. And there's a zap for a swing. Man, Marcus 35 lets that go. One Mini P.E.K.K.A. swing on the right side tower pushes the game very far forward for Apex Predator. Ice Wizard is available for defense. Mini P.E.K.K.A. gets slowed up, but the giant is going to get burned down before it makes it to the tower. Poison on the princess, and that's going to be a great choice. Zap allows the Ice Wizard to get good amount of slow off onto the double Ice Wizard Musketeer combination, but this is big damage coming in for Apex Predator's tower. Barbarians will be able to clean that up. And Apex Predator has been managing his elixir very, very well. Here comes the miner. Tags onto the guards. But now there's no guards for the Mini P.E.K.K.A. The question is, can a Mini P.E.K.K.A. survive? Poison plus a giant push. Musketeer doing a lot of work right now. And this looks really bad for Apex Predator, actually. The giant makes it over to the tower, and the poison is still existing. Now he has to play the Mini P.E.K.K.A. to defend against the giant. Now the Ice Wizard to defend against the Musketeer and the other Ice Wizard. But still, Marcus 35 makes a big connection, and that might close it out, and it does. Marcus 35 eventually finds something, makes something happen. I think it all came down to the fact that the Mini P.E.K.K.A. was played so far back and was able to get chewed up before it did significant amounts of damage to the giant. Also getting slowed down by the Ice Wizard really, really hurts. Being able to avoid that splash from the Ice Wizard is super important, especially for cards like the Mini P.E.K.K.A. So Apex Predator takes 1. Apex Predator takes, or rather Apex Predator loses 1. And Marcus 35 will have to play his alternate deck. Let's see what the alternate deck is. It's going to be a trifecta. We see trifecta making it farther and farther into tournaments. Hog Riders were largely unknown in the tournament scene for a long while, and now it's starting to make the top 8s again. Apex Predator with Miner Furnace, a fairly standard Miner Furnace tournament deck. And this is a match to decide who goes to the top 4 and who wins the money. So Apex Predator on the verge of elimination. Furnace gets placed. Poison on top of Valkyrie and Musketeer. Now the Hog Rider pushes across, gets Ice Spirited up, and it will fall. Interesting exchange. I don't feel like that was very telling. They're going to have to figure out a bigger push to be able to push through those defenses. Oh, wrong place. Didn't catch the mind game well enough. Furnace gets placed down, and we see the interaction between Furnace and Hog Rider. Usually the Hog Rider will trade with it. Here it comes. Hog Rider goes straight for the Furnace, gets frozen up by the Ice Spirit. Musketeer takes the Furnace down. Oh no. This could be dangerous. Play a card in front. Oh my god, the zap was too late. Man, if Apex Predator had played that zap just a little bit earlier, he would have gotten the mini P.E.K.K.A. swing. That was very, very close. That would have been a really good win for Apex Predator. But didn't quite do it at the right time. Hog Rider Ice Spirit. Hog Rider gets one swing off. Okay, we're in double elixir phase, and the cycle is fast enough to get this situation where double furnaces are out. And we talked about this, timing your furnaces so that you get 4 fire spirits in one go. Miner in the back is going to tank for the mini P.E.K.K.A. A zap is going to slow the cannon down, and the mini P.E.K.K.A. will move across and take down the collector, maybe even. To deal with the Hog Rider. Ice Spirits, but the guards are going to get frozen up. Mini P.E.K.K.A. gets dropped in order to take down that Hog Rider at the right time. Miner on the left side will allow the Fire Spirit to jump across. Do a good amount of damage, actually. And so it was a feint, really. There were a lot of cards coming down the right side, but Apex Predator wanted the left. Man, and Ice Spirit defense on the Hog Rider has been working really, really, really well for Apex Predator. Every single time that Hog Rider comes down, the Ice Spirit slows it down, and then another drop makes sure that the Hog Rider gets taken down before any significant damage gets taken on the tower. That zap, wow, the Musketeer actually walks by, and that Miner is going to get a lot of damage onto that tower. Furnace in front to make sure the Hog Rider doesn't get too many swings off on the right side tower, and it's going to become a race. Poison for Poison, Miner for Hog Rider. Ice Spirit onto the Miner. We'll retarget onto the Valkyrie, I believe. No, the Valkyrie actually takes it down before it comes out. So good defense. Any card played, so any Hog Rider or a Miner played that doesn't get a successful amount of damage off onto the opponent's tower is going to really hurt at this point in time. Just because of how poison is just inevitable. It's a race. Right now, Marcus 35 is leading a little bit, and he's played his poison first. Or rather, Apex is leading a little bit. He's played his poison first, and Marcus's tower is just a little bit lower. And if they're going to keep trading poisons, it's not going to work out. But again, this is a bad situation. Playing the Hog Rider into the Furnace. Unless it gets a swing off here. Oh my god! Oh god, and it does! Now there's only one poison and a zap away. Actually, the Miner might do it. It's a race. Oh my god! Oh my god, the Hog Rider gets the swing. He zapped the Furnace and was able to... I think the zap might have taken down the Ice Spirit too. And that might have been the big difference. Oh my god, that was so close. The one swing from the Hog Rider, and it's all about if you can play your Miner or your Hog Rider to make any kind of damage happen. That's what's really going to win you that situation. Your defense needs to be absolutely on point. Oh my god. Oh my god. The Ice Spirit. Oh, all game long, that Ice Spirit has been doing so well, but then it gets zapped. It's just, oh my god. Whew. Jeez. Coming down to the wire, these games are. So, Apex Predator versus Marcus 35. And I believe that means Marcus moves on 2-0. So, Marcus is in the top 4. And we have one more top 8 to watch, and that's going to be Gray versus Twig. Twig? I'm so bad at actually saying that. And Twig has the crossbow deck. He's also running bowler crossbow. So let's see. 2 bowler crossbows making it into top 4. Is it possible? Siege is back. Siege is back. 2 bowler crossbow decks. You guys are getting your fair share of Clash Royale today. Gray has made it so far with Zap Bait. If this is Zap Bait, I've never seen any deck that is more Zap Baity than this one. Goblin, Fire Spirit, plus a Goblin Barrel. Perfect cards to use. Let's see how they interact. I'm excited to see this. A very beat-downy deck against a very siegey deck. Let's see. If both crossbows make the finals, it's gonna be... Mini P.E.K.K.A gets pushed back. So this interaction here where you see the Mini P.E.K.K.A constantly getting pushed back and having to walk up before swinging, if you get to a situation where you have 2 bowlers, the Mini P.E.K.K.A will actually constantly just be pushed back. Makes it incredibly difficult. Fire Spirit plus the Mini P.E.K.K.A. Mini P.E.K.K.A running for the tower, gets a swing. Oh, the goblins! Chumpy. 2 elixir for the rescue. That was close. I actually don't know if I got a swing on that because that's a lot of damage done to that tower, but may have. May have. Twig data. Show me your crossbow. Show me your moves. So I don't know if Twig is aware of the fact that Goblin Barrel exists in this game yet. This is always the most interesting part for Goblin Barrel players. The first one is the one you really need to make work. And I believe the zap was already spent. Oh, the Fire Spirits are a perfect answer. But still, a good amount of damage done. 2.1k. How are you going to deal with this bowler? Inferno? You're just going to let it happen? Goblins in the back. Do so much damage. Miner, 1 goblin will be lost. And actually, this is a perfect situation. These guards are not in a good place to defend against the goblins. Doing so much damage. 1.5k caught up. Gray, with 2 good goblin plays, catches up the match. Crossbow still has not been revealed yet. What is Twig waiting for? And notice how the first crossbow typically takes down 1.2k, 1.3k based on what happens to his... Oh no! Oh my god! And so depending on how this first crossbow can go... Oh, nice. The Fire Spirits really handled that well. But Zap plus the Miner will do a lot of extra damage, and these players are putting together really complex, aggressive plays. But here comes a crossbow, and this is going to hurt bad, buddy. This might one-shot. I mean, Gray might lose a match right here. 900 damage, 700. It's done. You did it. Congratulations, Gray. Or rather, Twig. You did it. You did it. He held that crossbow till the moment he knew. He held that crossbow until he knew that Gray would not be able to defend. And when the cat came out of the bag, nice, and the fake out. Oh my god, Gray with a fake out. That goblin barrel placement was so key. But unfortunately, I think Gray does not have any more direct damage, and now he has to deal with his push on the left. 3 seconds, not enough to deal with it. Smart play by the goblin barrel, and man, these two players are really playing at it on another level in terms of offensive pressure. They were very calculated and selective with how they were using their win conditions with the goblin barrel and the crossbow, but eventually Twig just came out on the upper side. That fireball plus a crossbow in front of all those units, and Gray just was not prepared. So let's see. They move on to the next match. Twig has to swap now to his crossbow lightning deck, and Gray stays with goblin barrel miner. Man, I wish we had a goblin barrel card here, or even goblins. Something. But let's see. Gray is about to get knocked out, and Twig, maybe 2 crossbows in the top 4. Things are getting crazy. Let's see. The opening cycle, Twig might prefer to have... Actually, I think Twig's opening cycle hand is pretty good. Mini P.E.K.K.A. Fire Spirits, Zap. Nice. How do you defend the guards? You can surround the Ice Wizard. No, they didn't surround. They'll take it down anyways. Minor Goblin Barrel. You have no Zap on hand. Oh my god. Oh my god, that's actually so much damage. Look at how much damage that is. Oh my god. Oh my god. Goblins are so good. 2,000 plus damage, almost 2,000 damage there. But now the crossbow is down on the field, and Gray doesn't have a lot of elixir left to defend this. Has to play the mini P.E.K.K.A, but then the guards will be the answer, and the crossbow survives. There it is. The guards get played down, and what did a lot of damage from a goblin play? Hey, I can do that too, says Twig. I'm just gonna play 1 crossbow, and it's actually gonna take your tower down from about 90% to 0. That crossbow just blew away Gray's tower. I can't believe this. I've never seen more aggressive games in the Super Magical Cup. Back to back, these games have been so aggressive. And Gray with a fantastic goblin barrel play ends up getting dunked by the crossbow. That was a good connection, and Gray still has a lot of time. But he just needs to make sure he defends in this extended drop zone situation very well. Fire Spirits against the mini P.E.K.K.A. And maybe mini P.E.K.K.A against the Ice Wizard. Let it swing on your King Tower. That's okay. Your King Tower has a lot of health. You need to make sure that your next push really does a lot. Goblin Barrel in front. Tried to fake him out, but played it into the guards. Zap on the tower. Maybe you tried to read something like an Ice Spirit or something like that. Does a good bit of chipping damage. 372. It's still definitely doable for Gray, but how are you going to stop that? How are you going to stop? Oh, the Ice Wizard freezes it and the crossbow goes to town. Nice defense by Twig. Oh my goodness. And he has to go on the offense. There's no other way. He needs to take this tower down, but meanwhile, Gray is taking a lot of damage on that right side. And that crossbow has... Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! Oh my gosh. That was almost really bad. But here comes a counterattack. And we've seen how explosive these goblins can be. It all comes down to how does Gray deal with his crossbow. The next crossbow is really going to be an important factor. Oh wow, good lightning. Takes down the princess. Here comes a barrel. Where's your zap? You need to make sure you zap the right spot. Oh, he didn't! He actually didn't zap the right spot! Oh my gosh! He waited, he was very patient, but he completely whiffed the zap. Unfortunately, there was not a big capitalization off of that for Gray, and I think Gray might end up losing it here. His lightning is going to chip away at his tower. He's just going to throw aggressive now. He needs to. Ice Spirit is not a good answer, and there's a mini P.E.K.K.A swinging! Oh my god! Oh my god! This game is giving me a heart attack. I actually want to say that Twig has this in the bag, but oh, there's 27 health left. You need a zap, but you need to zap the barrel. Oh my god. Oh god, that was so insane. That was so crazy. I really wish I had seen more of Gray's games, because that goblin barrel play is absolutely deadly. Absolutely deadly. Oh goodness. Twig. Twig sketchy AF. Oh my god. That was so scary. Goblins do so much damage. We have our top 4 contenders decided, guys. Top 4 of the Super Magical Cup Invitational for this week has been settled. It's going to be Marcus 35, Twig Data, Darth, Jarjar, and Woody. The 2 Siege players are on other ends of the bracket, so it's very real that they could meet each other in the finals. We have 3 actually crossbow decks in the top 4, because Woody is running 1 and Twig's actually running 2 himself. And then we have 2 triple musketeer decks, and that's on Darth Jarjar's side, and Marcus 35 holding his own with meta decks. Giant. I can't believe that this Super Magical Cup is actually ending up this way. This is nothing like I would have ever imagined. Alright, let's go back down. We're gonna have to watch Darth Jarjar and Woody, the triple musketeer hero versus the godfather of Siege, I would say. The godfather of Siege now thrown his title down and has picked up other archetypes of decks, but will not give up on his princess or his mortar against Darth Jarjar, who is really looking to make triple musketeers a standard pick in decks. Let's see here. I'm going to feature the princess this time for Woody. Let's see. Let's see. Triple Musketeer is a really strong card to play, especially against Siege. And especially when the only spell Woody has is Zap. And then on the other deck, the only spell Woody has is Arrows. Zap or Arrows? What are you going to play against a Triple Musketeer? Do you want to play Zap or do you want to play Arrows? If you gave me that choice, I would shoot myself. Here comes a big play from Woody, a big call out. Minion Horde moving across. Nice. Ice Spirit plus Zap and the Princess Splash. Darth Jar Jar wants none of that. Darth Jar Jar is not going to let any of that get through. Elixir Collector, well defended. And Darth Jar Jar actually already cycled to a second one. This is a really interesting situation for Woody. Mortar. Giant to tank. Barbarians in front, maybe? Soaks up the mini P.E.K.K.A. swings. But the Barbarians are having a hard time squeezing through. Now gonna tag onto the mortar. Effective defense against the mortar. One shot onto the tower, but I think Darth Jar Jar is gonna be okay with that. Starting to gain an elixir advantage, and we know how important that is for a triple musketeer deck. Getting ahead in elixir, especially early on in the match before double elixir generation kicks in, is really important for a triple musketeer deck. Might play its next collector here. Miner, here it comes. The timing is perfect. The minion horde moves through. Darth Jar Jar, you need to defend well. The zap is not enough, man. Oh my god, and the princess finally splashes with 1,000 health just like that. In a matter of moments, and the princess now is going to splash on the tower 2 more shots. 777 Woody making a big play with his minion horde. Say it time and time again, every single game I guarantee you Woody is going to make that minion horde work for him. But here comes a big counter push. Triple musketeer giant all committed to one side. He knows that there's no big spells to counter this triple musketeer clump up. What are you going to play? If you play minion horde, you risk getting zapped and ice spirited, and now the princess is there. Immediately disintegrated, and this actually could be really bad for Woody. I think he could play a second giant here, and he does. How are you going to stop this push? You might get 3 crown at this point. The giant pushes up to the tower. Tombstone is not going to be enough, and I think he's already hit that critical mass. There's not enough AoE clear for Woody to actually deal with this triple musketeer deck, and he does get the 3 crown. Woody gets 3 crown. I never thought I would ever say those words. But Woody just got 3 crown by Darth Jar Jar. If there was a slam dunk in Clash Royale, Woody just got dunked on. He just got dunked on so hard that the basket just fell off. He just broke the backboard. That hurt. Oh my god. That was a big counter push. That was a big counter push. There's no better way to punish. Exactly like the Devil's Luck says, no poison or fireball is a Three Musketeers wet dream. That hurts. But hey, you know, it's one game. You got to pick yourself up and you got to keep going. That doesn't mean that Woody is out of this tournament just yet. Doesn't mean that Woody is out just yet. Darth Jarjar opens up strong with a 3 crown. One of the few legit 3 crowns that we've ever seen. Let's see how Woody puts himself together. Running the same deck again. Now Darth Jarjar has to run his alternate deck. Just one more, and Darth Jarjar can bar Woody again from another finals performance. Woody trying to make his way for a 4th first-time finish in a major Super Magical Cup event. Darth Jarjar looking for his first ever top 2. What'll happen? Woody just got 3 crowned in the last match, chose to play his other deck, and we already know how bad this deck is at fighting 3 Musketeers. Woody's only alternate choice is running Crossbow Bowler. How much better will that do? Let's see. Let's go ahead and see. Starting out with Split Musketeers. It's interesting. Darth Jarjar made a concerted choice. He made a very specific choice to put 3 Musketeers on one side to assist his Giant. Maybe this time around he knows that his deck isn't designed as well to do split pushing because he doesn't have a Giant leading the charge. Minion Horde. Musketeer. Oh, there's one minion that survives. It might do a little bit of damage, but I think the Princess might splash it. No. That's actually a lot of damage. 600, 700 damage on the right side tower, and that's a big opening for Woody right now. But we see how swingy Triple Musketeer is. In the last game, Woody made a huge Minion Horde push, but on the counter push, Darth Jarjar took that damage on the chin, buckled up, and made the biggest counter push I've ever seen in Super Magical Cup history. Mortar? What's your answer? You don't have a Giant to tank it. Miner to defend. That's a good choice in many ways because there's no way that Woody can play a card in front of it, or at least it becomes extremely difficult to do so. Now, how do you deal with the rest of these cards? Skeleton. Oh, the Zap is going to slow the Mini P.E.K.K.A down. Darth Jarjar lost his Elixir Collector. Elixir means everything to 3 Musketeer decks. Darth Jarjar needs to make sure that he's able to keep himself afloat. It's going to go into double Elixir generation phase. But again, the Mortar. Valkyrie for the slow push. Maybe Miner again. But this time, Woody has no Elixir to play a Mini P.E.K.K.A. He's actually going to lose a ton of health on that Mortar. Tags onto the tower, but I think that Darth Jarjar might be okay with this. Okay, a Miner counter push is coming for Woody. This is where Woody tries to make all his money. This situation right here. Ooh, the Zap traded the princesses. Valkyrie, Musketeer on one side, Miner on the other side. Oh no! Brace yourselves. The Mini P.E.K.K.A cleans up both the Musketeers. There was no more support for Darth Jarjar. He was not willing to zap the Mini P.E.K.K.A, which would have changed the dynamic of that push a lot. Miner Mini P.E.K.K.A now is going to be the offensive pressure for Darth Jarjar. Lost his Elixir Collector, and things are getting a little bit messy. Mini P.E.K.K.A is going to get swarmed by skeletons here. And Woody is doing really well in this match. Just keeping the Mortar pressure up. He knows that the Mortar is going to cause Darth Jarjar to have to play 4 Elixir, 4 Elixir, 3 Elixir, and that's going to stop him from playing his Triple Musketeers as much as he would like. Zap on the Minion Horde, and the Miner is going to tank. Oh no! Woody does this time and time again. Good placement on the Princess that time around. Doesn't tag onto the Miner, instead goes for the Minion Horde. Splash onto the tower. There's no Zap to handle that situation. Miner tags onto the Mortar, and again, Darth Jarjar finds a way to reduce the mortar health, but Woody is doing some pretty good chipping damage every single time he plays a mortar. Mini P.E.K.K.A doesn't one-shot the Ice Wizard. Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out! Don't get zapped! And he zaps the princess, it's gonna retarget! The princess gets taken down, and Woody, oh my god, again! He makes the minion hordes work. Finally, the second zap comes for Darth Jarjar and takes down that minion horde, but that was so scary. The zap on the princess was exactly what he needed. Targeted the princess onto the miner, and finally one stray minion cleared out that princess in such a dangerous situation. Now finally, oh my god, that mortar did a lot of damage to the Three Musketeers. You need to make sure you don't get hit like that. But this miner is doing so much damage to Darth Jar Jar's right side tower. I think that the mortar shot will end it, and Woody takes it back. Exactly like what we were talking about. Woody is never out. You can never count a player of Woody's caliber out. Gets 3 crown, picks himself right back up, dusts himself off, takes the second game, ties it up 1-1. Darth Jar Jar and Woody now at risk of being eliminated. This next game is going to decide it. Bowler Crossbow. As much as I like this Bowler Crossbow deck, as much as I like Bowler Crossbow, my gut feeling says that Triple Musketeer is not something you want to mess with. That the Bowler is not going to be an effective card to use against Triple Musketeer. That's what my gut feeling is, but what do I know about anything, really? What do I know about anything? Judging by the things that I've seen today, I feel like anything I say could just be thrown out the window. Bowler Crossbow against Three Musketeer? You never see these decks. You never see these decks. And I think a lot of people in chat are identifying something key, that the Bowler Splash is going to be great against Three Musketeers. But the thing about Three Musketeers is you can split them really well. And how do you split a card that costs 6 elixir? If you constantly commit your Bowler to the side that has 2 Musketeers, and Darth Jar Jar is playing this really effective split push deck where he has Valkyrie on one side and Miner on the other side, how do you keep up with that? And it might come down to card cycle, and Woody is on a pretty good cycle. He has his crossbow, he has his bowler, he has a collector if he wants. This is pretty much the ideal situation for Woody. Every single card he would have wanted to play in the opening, I think he got. Nice. Bowler pushes the miner back, pushes him off the crossbow, and this crossbow remains. The Valkyrie is doing good amounts of damage though. He's able to handle the guards, and the crossbow actually falls. Has to play the barbarians to defend against the mini P.E.K.K.A. Still, Darth Jar Jar has not committed 3 Musketeers yet, while Woody has shown the extent of his hand. Woody's going to need to get more creative than that. I mean, the bowler had good synergy with the crossbow in that situation, but it didn't really change Woody's game plan in terms of getting the crossbow to tag onto a tower. And we see how dangerous that is. The instant the crossbow tags onto a tower, thousands of damage. But Darth Jar Jar actually avoided that situation. That was the first crossbow that Woody played. And so in many ways, maybe Darth Jar Jar was the one that had the better opening hand, or had the ideal opening hand for that situation, was able to get away without significant damage done. And now he's got himself a collector plus 3 Musketeers on the board, and this is what we're talking about. Bowler is a 6 elixir commitment, and actually Darth Jar Jar all-ins one side. As opposed to continuing to split, he sees the Bowler is on the side with the 2 Musketeers. He's just going to all-in Valkyrie and Miner, and this is a big connection. Barbarians is going to come incredibly late to finally take down the Musketeer, but 477 health, and that's what we were worried about. That's what I was talking about. You play the Bowler, that's a 6 elixir commitment on one side, but you have to deal with a split push. 3 Musketeers is such a flexible card. You can all in on one side with it. You can all in on one side while splitting it. Or you could just go for a straight up split push and divide it evenly. You have so much flexibility and choice when it comes to... Now he's going to play the Bowler on the side with 1 Musketeer. No Valkyrie being played right now though. Double Musketeers get stopped by Barbarians, but still a lot of damage taken to the tower. 1058 on one side, 477 on the other side. The Bowler, is it splashing onto the tower? No, not quite. The angle for the Valkyrie is not quite there. Barbarians get defended against. 1 swing, not anything too serious. Bowler gets taken down before any serious damage is taken. Miner added in front. Zap is going to change the aggro for the crossbow. And again, the crossbow handled very, very in graceful fashion. Miner plus Zap. Woody is in dire straits right now. He's gonna have a hard time. He's had a hard time setting up his crossbow and a hard time justifying the bowler pick, particularly against 3 Musketeers. And I mean, that's nothing. This deck is still nothing to laugh at. You have to keep in mind that Woody actually won with this deck all the way up until this point. He's beat everybody with this deck at least once. But now you have to deal with a splish. You don't have enough elixir to deal with the two Musketeers on the right side, and it's the left side. What do you do? Oh my god! So the right side looks like it's in trouble. The left side looks like it's in trouble. Really, the truth is both sides are in trouble. And really, I think it came down to the fact that your elixir commitment is just too high. 6 elixir for that bowler is just too much to handle the triple Musketeer split push. That's crazy. And Woody gets knocked out, and Darth Jarjar makes his first top 2 performance, makes it to the finals. 3 Musketeers. Woody, one of the 2 members carrying on the Siege Dream, gets knocked out in the top 4. Now we have Twig to look to see if Siege is something that can make the finals in the Super Magical Cup once again. We haven't seen a Siege deck in the finals in a long time. Let me go ahead and find the match here. It's going to be Marcus 35 versus Twig Data. And here we go. It's going to be Crossbow Lightning against Giant Poison. You know what it's all about. We've talked about these decks enough. Let's jump right into the game as we can. Lightning on the collector. Ice Wizard Giant Push. Need minions for that. It's not gonna go through. He's not even gonna bother zapping. I think he knows that the Inferno Tower he was just not prepped for. Here it comes. Crossbow, the Ice Wizard will stop players from playing a card in front of it. There it is. Those guards are going to go to waste. Guards to defend the Ice Wizard. Poison on top of the crossbow is going to lock onto the Musketeer. Gets zapped up, and now it's onto the tower, and it's staying there. But again, poison reduces the damage potential of crossbow by a large margin. Still, 1.4k on the left side. Marcus is being put very, very heavily on the back foot right now. How do you want to play your Elixir Collector? You need to play it to the right, otherwise it will get lightning. And even if you do play it on the right, Twig might want to just lightning it anyways. Nice. Good use of the guards. The shield mechanic, even with the Ice Spirits hit, it still takes 2 swings per guard for the mini P.E.K.K.A. because of the shield mechanic. Good defense by Marcus 35. And now he's gotten Twig to actually play the Inferno Tower while the Giant is off cycle. It could be Marcus's time to make a push. How will Twig defend? Half health on the Inferno Tower. I think he should poison it early to make sure it degenerates the tower health. No, and it's not going to happen. He's actually going to play a second Inferno Tower. He's cycled fast enough. There's a zap, and the Musketeer is doing a ton of damage. He needs to play a second Giant now. And there's a big poison. The defense is very, very good for Twig. He did really, really well, but good connection for Marcus 35. And he should be able to replicate that. Trying to decide whether he wants the Collector or he wants the Giant. But it seems like Marcus 35 is trying to play the slow game here. Giant and Ice Wizard. Oh no, it tagged onto the Giant rather than the Musketeer. There's the Zap to stop the charge. Lightning takes down the Musketeer, and that's a big Lightning. That is a really, really big Lightning. Smart use. Crossbow tags onto the left side, does a good amount of damage. Twig is doing a really good job of kind of playing the crossbow very tactically. He doesn't need to make big wins off of it, even though he leaves that potential up for grabs. The Giant has the guards leading and will take down the Inferno Tower. Guards get eliminated, and now that Mini P.E.K.K.A is going to go to town on the Giant. So again, good defense by Twig. It's very, very difficult for Marcus 35 to push past this Inferno Tower. There's going to be another one. Actually tagged onto the Musketeer. And the Zap now is going to swap it onto the Giant. But this Musketeer is doing a ton of damage to the Inferno Tower. Again, it all comes down to timing. One guard makes it up to the tower and stabs it once. This could be Marcus 35. The longer this push goes on, the less and less effective it's going to be. Marcus 35 is going to be losing momentum very, very soon. And I think that's about it. He's out of gas. He actually plays that Musketeer up front to try to keep it alive a bit, but I think that might be a little bit of a mistake. Now Twig has the opportunity to play anything he wants, really. Didn't catch the tower with that poison. I think he's trying to catch it in the Inferno Tower drop zone. Good zap. And the Lightning is going to take down the Musketeer. But this Giant punches through. Mini P.E.K.K.A gets frozen up by the Ice Spirit. And now there's guards defending the Giant. Or rather, defending the Mini P.E.K.K.A. It's very, very difficult for each player to push through. Crossbow is a hard sell for Twig right now because he needs to constantly deal with the Giants. The Giants aren't getting anywhere because the Inferno Tower keeps tagging onto Marcus 35's Giant. Trying desperately to play that Musketeer in a position where it can pick off the Inferno Tower before it becomes a big deal. But 35 seconds left, and we might actually see a draw right now. Giant pushing across it. This is a lot of units on the table right now. Zap. There it is. Actually a well-timed zap. And this Mini P.E.K.K.A is running free. You got to play guards in front of it. And this actually might be a side effect of Marcus 35's deck not running a card like Princess. Musketeer actually gets a shot off. 10 seconds. That Giant is actually not going to get anywhere. So it is going to be a draw. It is going to be a draw. I really think Princess is a game-changing card in that situation. Anytime you have to deal with guards, Princess is going to be a very ideal choice because it allows you to do stuff like Princess auto attack and then zap to take down the guards. Something like that, but it's really difficult for Marcus 35 to push back the guard defense. So Twig and Marcus 35 will tie. Let's see if they bash at each other with the same decks, and it looks like that is the case, so they're going to rematch it. We don't see ties very often in the Super Magical Cup. It's interesting because you have poison, and in many ways, 6 minutes of poison is probably actually going to kill your tower. So it's interesting. Maybe Marcus 35 is going to adjust a little bit. Double Elixir is a hard sell for many players just because the cycle is so quick. Much like the Inferno Tower was cycling very fast, so is the Giant. They're the same cost. Good zap. Takes down the Inferno Tower, and the guards play just in time to attract the Mini P.E.K.K.A the wrong direction. Guards on the other side, but the Giant gets 1 or 2 good punches, and look at how much damage the Giant does. One more for the road. 1588 health, and that's a big Giant play for Marcus 35. And you can see how different the game looks in normal Elixir phase as opposed to double Elixir phase. And so in many of these pushes, Marcus 35 is incentivized to play it early because you can play around that Inferno Tower without fear of having a second one pop up in the middle of your push. Likewise, for Marcus 35, he needs to watch out for that crossbow tagged onto your tower. You're going to take a lot of damage from this, buddy. Lightning, is he going to opt to use it? No, he's going to play the Inferno Tower. takes damage and leaves it. Poison, and this time Marcus 35 making the adjustment, making sure he hits that tower alongside the Inferno. And this Giant is actually really healthy. Guards are actually committed in the poison. This could hurt a lot. Mini P.E.K.K.A in front of the Giant is going to swing that Giant down, but 2 big swings. Marcus 35 makes 2 big openings while Twig has 1 big crossbow play. Is Collector the option? Here comes the crossbow, and this time the Giant is going to walk in front. It's going to freeze the Giant. Musketeer on the side. It's going to odd to lightning all 3 of them. And Marcus 35, I think he would play poison, but I think he wants to use the poison on the tower instead. He will actually end up taking down the crossbow, so he has the opportunity to play the poison on the tower. Let's see if he does it. Giant, guards, Musketeer. Poison is not going to reach. Oh, it actually does reach both. He has a zap for the tower. This is a really, really good push for Marcus 35, actually. This is actually a little bit scary. Inferno Tower goes down. Ice Spirit gets taken down before he can freeze. Oh, no, and Twig. Oh, no. 7 seconds left, and the tower comes crumbling down. Giant poison for Marcus 35. That minor adjustment, and also playing at a much faster pace. Marcus 35 did not let that game go very far into double elixir phase. And Twig just couldn't cycle his Inferno Tower. And one big difference is Twig chose to start using his lightning on the Giant. And that might have been the hurt. That might have been the really big difference in those 2 games. Using the lightning on the Giant might not have been as effective as he would have liked. Let's see what happens. Twig still has 1 chance to bring it back. He could swap his decks to the bowler deck. And it looks like he will. It looks like he will. So Marcus 35 is actually going to be swapping on the Trifecta. This is actually really interesting to me. I have no idea how Trifecta will interact with the bowler. And one might think it might be super effective because the Hog Rider gets pushed back by the bowler, and the Hog Rider will constantly keep trying to jump for the crossbow. It might provide Twig the opportunity of controlling a lot of the damage that Marcus 35 would like to be putting in. Let's see. Siege's last opportunity to make a big showing in the Super Magical Cup lies on Twig's shoulder. That is a tough opening. 3 strikes for the opening Hog Rider plus the Ice Spirit. But now, Marcus 35 just committed 5 elixir to do 0 damage to the units. He has a full health bowler coming down the lane. There's a cannon. This is the classic Trifecta method. Okay, I guess we'll just let that bowler go. Let that bowler go. Nothing in Twig's deck or hand that convinced him enough that it would be a worth enough elixir investment at that moment. Didn't help his bowler out. Now the Valkyrie, plus maybe a Hog Rider to assist for a big push here. No, Marcus 35 is just going to let that go. He's going to get away with just a Collector. Here comes Twig's opportunity. He's identified that now is the time. Guards in front. Going to stop the cannon from doing a lot of damage. And now tags onto the tower, and that's going to be good for Twig. Zap is available for Marcus 35, but he doesn't have a lot of elixir. We'll zap it just a little bit. Poison plus zap reduce the damage that crossbow did by a lot. 600 damage as opposed to 1,000. That's really, really significant in my eyes. Now, is Marcus's next play another Collector? Again, if you go by typical archetype theory crafting, a lot of people who theory craft on competitive Clash Royale say that the Siege archetype is really, really great against Control. Because as Control sits back, Siege can pick away at the tower. But, as it seems right now, Trifecta, which is almost the ideal Control deck, kind of the de facto Control deck that you would, if you wanted to know what Control was, you just look at Trifecta. Seems like it's doing incredibly well. Crossbow gets taken down by the Hog Rider, plus the poison is ticking away at that tower. Again, this is emblematic of Control. Hog Rider pushing the Valkyrie, plus the Ice Spirit in the back. Where's your defense, Turtwig? I'm gonna see if this game is the actual... Did he tap out? Did Turtwig tap out? I think Turtwig just tapped out. I think Turtwig tapped out. He couldn't push through with his bowler crossbow. Oh, are you guys seeing the chat right now? Sorry about that. Let me make sure. Game 2. Wait. Hold on. This is the match that we just saw. He just said his phone died? Did his phone really die? But they didn't replay a match. Did that count? I think that counted. I think Turtwig, let me ask the admins what happened. So these games were actually played already. Sorry, bear with me one moment. I'm just trying to make sure that we have the absolute right results. All right, so it seems like Turtwig did tap out. Yeah, interesting. It's such an interesting match. I wanted to see how those decks would have interacted. Marcus 35 definitely seemed like he was in the advantage, but Turtwig lying for rematch. My phone is dead. I can't rematch. Oh, Turtwig's phone is completely dead. Entirely. I see. So Marcus 35 will move on, but oh man, we'll only have to think. Marcus 35 was in an advantage, and it was very difficult for Turtwig to make something significant happen, especially with a Hog Rider trading with a crossbow. But I don't know if that's enough to guarantee that Marcus 35 definitely would have won if they played it out. And I don't think we'll ever know. Unfortunately, a DC at that point in the game is it is technically a loss, and especially if they can't get back within a certain amount of time. So, however, that does not mean that Turtwig is any less good than he was. Both Woody and Turtwig are really, really strong players, and both grabbed very, very unique decks all the way to the finals, to the top 4 rather. 3 crossbow decks between the 2 players. Really, really high level. All right. So let's take a look here. We have our 2 finalists. It's going to be Marcus 35 and it's going to be Darth Jarjar facing it off in the grand finals. Man, who would have ever thought? We had Raintown, Clyde, Woody, we had Flash, we had all these names. We had so many people. And the last remaining is Darth Jarjar and Marcus 35. What I mentioned, 2 rising names in the Super Magical Cup. Beat all the old champions and new to find themselves in a situation where they have to face off for first and second. Darth Jarjar leading the charge on new innovative triple musketeer decks, and Marcus 35 bunkering down and playing what's strong in the meta. Really looking to bring any kind of advantage that he can have. So let's finally take a look at these decks. We know that we've talked about them a lot. We've talked about them all day today. It's going to be Giant Poison with the Ice Wizard rather than the Princess against Triple Musketeer. Let's see. Poison Zap is going to be a good lineup for Triple Musketeer, but in many ways, like I've said before, I feel like the concept behind Triple Musketeer is just so good behind the deck, against the deck concept of Giant Poison. Season 2 is very difficult. Season 2 is definitely a step up from Season 1. And I think the qualifying process is just a little bit harsher too. Poison Zap. Those Musketeers are living on borrowed time. 1 shot, 2 shots. That's still a good amount of damage. And the Valkyrie swings twice. 1.5k. Take that any day. 1,000 damage on the tower for that push. Thank you. Darth Jarjar is going to do that again all the time. He will take that trade. Marcus 35 got an Elixir Collector, but profiting 2 Elixir and taking 1,000 damage for it, not worth it. Miner, where's your defense? Oh no, you got dunked. Too bad you're not Marcel P. Marcel P, the Miner Defender. The Collector Defender, I should say. That was absolutely fantastic, by the way. 4 miners in a row Marcel P defended today. Crazy. Valkyrie gets chewed up, and the zap on the skeletons. Mini P.E.K.K.A, Mini P.E.K.K.A, Mini P.E.K.K.A, zap it, zap it, zap it. No, oh, this Princess Splash saved the day, but this hurts so much. You think 1,000 damage is a lot? Well, Marcus 35 has something else to say about that. He one-shot that tower. Darth Jarjar got his tower dunked. Not quite a slam dunk, but that was pretty dunky. And that Princess even did work. Got rid of that Mini P.E.K.K.A. It would have just been worse with that Mini P.E.K.K.A available. Trading collectors now, and now we're in double elixir phase. Here comes a miner. Defend. Nice. There we go. That's a good defense against miner. But Marcus 35 just continuing to extend his lead. How are you going to deal with his triple musketeer? Darth Jarjar is playing his lightweight triple musketeer deck. Mini tank with the Valkyrie. Musketeer to assist. Takes down the shield of those guards with the Valkyrie swing. Mini P.E.K.K.A gonna chop away at the Ice Wizard. Now turning its way to the tower, and this could be Darth Jarjar's way back into the game. Oh my god, 660 health. The guards push the Musketeer out of range and retargeted onto the guards. 18 seconds left. This is the last chance, but both those Musketeers are walking through poison and get zapped up. I don't know if Darth Jar Jar can do it. He needs to do 1.9k, 1.1k damage on that left side tower. 2 seconds. Darth Jar Jar. Giant Poison actually takes the victory. 1 game up. Marcus 35 on the verge of making his first Super Magical Cup victory. He's already in the finals, and I believe this is the first time Marcus 35 has even made it this far. He might take the whole thing. Meanwhile, Darth Jar Jar needs to fight hard for... Darth Jar Jar has been making top 8s for a while, but not able to make the tournament victory, and this is his opportunity to do so. On the verge of elimination now, Darth Jar Jar swaps to his Giant Knight 3 Musketeers deck, so he's swapping away from the mini tanks. Marcus 35 has to swap to Trifecta. Let's see. Trifecta versus Giant 3 Musketeer. Our blue featured card will be Hog Rider here. Hog Rider pushing across. Ice Spear is going to freeze the Barbarians. Oh no, 1 swing, 2. Definitely worth it. So if you think about it, the Barbarian plus the Ice Spear is about a 5 elixir investment. Now this extra Musketeer investment is going to be elixir deficit a little bit, but it's going to soften up the Barbarian so that Marcus 35 doesn't feel, well, he knows. I actually would have preferred if you played a Collector there. Just let the Barbarians come, play the Collector, and match your opponent in terms of the Collector game. Now this is a difficult push to defend because Marcus 35 just committed the Collector, not in double elixir time, And you have to defend one side Knight Double Musketeer and one side Giant Musketeer. This is a hard sell. I think that Marcus 35 is in a lot of trouble here. Giant makes it to the tower, and that's going to be a lot of damage. Playing the cannon in desperation, that's not going to help, buddy. 549 in that one push. Darth Jarjar makes a big opening. He has to win back. If Darth Jarjar loses this match, he's out. He got second place. He needs to win this to extend his chances in his tournament. Marcus 35 on the verge of taking first place. He just needs to win one more with his trifecta deck. But currently the defense is a little bit lacking, especially in the opening moments of the match. Marcus 35 put very, very much on the back foot. 549. Ice Spirit tags onto the Knight, and these Barbarians will chew up the Hog Rider. Gets one swing anyways. But now Marcus 35 has to deal with the Barbarians. Something interesting to know about Trifecta, why I feel like this position is so bad for Marcus 35, is because Hog Riders are absolutely terrible at taking a second tower. And even in the best situation, if Marcus 35 manages to take down the left side tower of Darth Jarjar, it's very, very easy for Darth Jarjar to take down that right side tower. He has 54 minutes to do 549 damage with a triple Musketeer deck. The most likely situation is that they go one-on-one and have to take down a second tower, and Hog Rider is so terrible at doing that. That's why I'm a little bit nervous for him. But Darth Jarjar pushing a big push. One Musketeer, 4 Barbarians, plus a Giant on the left side. Darth Jarjar going to use the defensive poison and zap the Musketeer, trying to minimize damage as he can. But another 3 Musketeer combination in the back. Giant and Knight to be added on. There's a Giant. And maybe the Knight in front of the Valkyrie. No, he's just going to let that ride. Ice Spirits. And this is not a well-timed poison. It's already a little bit too late. That Musketeer gets one more shot. A second shot and takes down that tower. Meanwhile, on the left side, the Knight trying to hold its own. But can't really do so. Or rather, not the Knight. The Mini P.E.K.K.A. rather. Or whatever that card was. And Marcus 35, 2-0. Brings it back up to a 1-1 scoreline, and Darth Jarjar might be clawing his way back in this series. We're going to the deciding match. Right down to the last... Okay. Woo, dodged a bullet there. Right down to the last match. I want to know in chat, who do you think is going to win? Is it going to be Marcus 35 or Darth Jarjar? Is it going to be 3 Musketeer, or is it going to be Trifecta? That's what it comes down to right now. 3 Musketeer, and notice he's not playing his Giant Knight combination. He's playing his minor Valkyrie combination. Who is more likely to take this out of all the gameplay that you've seen? Marcus 35 versus Darth Jarjar. I feel like Marcus 35 had a really hard time defending against Giants in general. Or rather, using his Trifecta to defend against Giants. But in this deck, the Giant doesn't exist. It's just mini tanks. We'll have to see. For the title, Marcus 35 or Darth Jarjar, both looking to make their first place finish in the Super Magical Cup. Ice Spirit is going to stop that miner. Are you going to play a second card? No, he's just going to let it ride. 2 swings on the Collector. Marcus 35 is going to be the first one to push. Valkyrie. Mini P.E.K.K.A. Oh, gets swung on. And the second swing for the Mini P.E.K.K.A.'s long extended arm. If you guys seen Inspector Gadget, that's how I imagine that plays out. Nothing significant for either player. Elixir Collector match going the way of Darth Jarjar so far. Wrong place, just off by a little bit. And Marcus 35 is getting farther and farther behind. Against this 3 Musketeer deck, this is not looking good. Poison on a little bit of the Collector, as well as the Musketeers. Nice timing on the Ice Spirit. 1 shot only. Hashtag orange juice. Alright. You don't have a building, you just have skeletons. That's a very, very skimpy defense. 2, maybe 4. That's 3. That's 4 swings. Oh my god. That hurts. Darth Jarjar winning in the Elixir War, but losing in the actual tower health scramble. How will Double Elixir change all of this? Here comes the next Triple Musketeer of the game. Oh, and you just played a Collector? But we're in Double Elixir, so that might be a little more okay. He waited on the Zap, and I almost believe you should wait to play the Zap until right when the Musketeers are about to get defeated. Mini P.E.K.K.A doesn't get anywhere. Marcus 35 just lets that Musketeer happen. Darth Jarjar is going to have an opportunity to play another Triple Musketeer. So far, minimal damage taken. Marcus 35 has poison. He's going to play it there. Wait on the Zap, because he's either going to play another card there or not. Just handle the left side first and the Zap when the Musketeers get close to the tower. Oh, that Miner is going to activate the King Tower, actually. Things are looking worse and worse for Darth Jarjar. So far, the defense for Marcus 35 has been pretty good. Now Miner is almost completely shut down. Hog Rider makes it across, and that's a big Zap, and that might be enough. Oh my god! What even happened? The Hog Rider just made it through, and not the cards available for Darth Jarjar to defend. And that might be the big downfall of Darth Jarjar not actually having a defensive structure. Hog Rider wins the Super Magical Cup? A Hog Rider? A Hog Rider? Marcus 35 playing Giant Poison and Trifecta, the two meta decks, out of this whole crazy tournament, out of everything that happened. Darth Jarjar with the 3 Musketeers and Marcus 35 with the Trifecta Hog and the Giant Poison both defeat Siege decks and all their opponents before. They made it all the way through. I mean, let's take a look at their journey here. Darth Jarjar, Yes I'm Fim, Ruffy, Zadian. Those are tough names to beat. And then in the playoffs, Darth Jarjar had to go through Simple and then Woody. Meanwhile, Marcus 35, if I can find his name, there he is at the top end. King K102, ESL Yo, and Kirby Sage. And then in the top 8, he had to take down Apex Predator and Twig. What a turn of events for the Super Magical Cup. Big congratulations for Marcus 35 taking first place in the Super Magical Cup. The first time I believe he's ever made it to the finals, and he won the whole thing. Gets $200 in Amazon gift card money and 500 points, solidifying his name as a Season 2 Super Magical Cup champion among the likes of Clark Kent, Naders, Justin for the win, Woody, Clyde, all these people. He joins the cast as a tournament winner, just as Grubby did a few moments ago. And Darth Jarjar continues improving his performance, taking second place. That's 300 points and $100 in Amazon gift card value. Darth Jarjar, who had been playing in the qualifiers, made it to the top 8, then to the top 4, now finally to the finals, got second place. Is he going to be in the running for first place? I think he made a very, very close cut this time around, and I think it's entirely believable that he can do it. And finally, to our third and fourth place winners, Twig and Woody, both bringing crossbow decks, both taking Siege and lifting them up and reviving them from the dead. Twig and Woody. That's absolutely insane. That's absolutely crazy. So congratulations to third and fourth place. All the top 8 players, Apex Predator, Gray, Simple, Bakalo, want to see more double prints. Want to see more Barbarian, just very vanilla play from Simple. Want to see Gray playing more Goblin Barrel, and Apex Predator all obviously coming back and continuing to make big performances in Super Magical Cup. If you guys want to sign up, www.supermagicalcup.com. Go ahead and receive qualifier information upon giving your contact information, your in-game name, and your hashtag. You too can join the Super Magical Cup. Thanks for watching. Sorry that Rumham isn't here. I'm going to go check my phone, see if there are any messages, see if people have found him yet and contain the situation. if you see a suspicious bald male individual with a smartphone in his hand running around yelling Clash Royale memes at people, please let us know. You can email us at supermagicalcup@gmail.com to give us feedback or the whereabouts of Rumham. And also, if you want to follow our Twitter, SuperMagicalCup, if you make sure you follow our Twitch and check out our YouTube, SuperMagicalCup on YouTube. Check out everything, Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I am Radius Day. You can follow me on Twitter at Radius Day. Been a pleasure commentating for you guys. Tune in next week for more exciting Super Magical Cup stuff. There's some really, really exciting stuff coming down the pipeline, so stay tuned for more announcements. There's tons of fun stuff that's going to be happening for the Super Magical Cup soon. Going to be streaming more qualifiers across this week, so keep your eyes out. We're going to be tweeting about when the stream goes live, and you're probably going to be hanging out with me a little bit more, and maybe if I can rope Rumham in, he'll come too. So, all right. Rumham is on vacation. Yes, you are right. Risk for lives. It's just a little bit fun to think the other way. All right, guys. It's been a pleasure. See you all.